Hello, 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 one and all. How goes it? I've been asking ChatGPT for a couple of new images to help me out um, with a couple of things. Just to start getting. How good is it at basic? I'll tell you, it did a pretty good job. The first attempt was actually not too bad. That's not too bad. I would have liked him to have shoulder pads, but actually not too bad at all. Okay, so this is what I asked for on the first attempt. I'll show you. An image of a red line drawing of a football player posing as a QB about to throw on a yellowish old scroll colored background. I think that hit it pretty well. What'd you say? That's about as precise as you can be. And although my snake people are a little less I mean, they're cobras. I do have Discord. It's there should be a link to it in my chat, if not, or in my description, if not underneath my. I think underneath my, if you scroll up on my Twitch page, you should be able to see it. But I do have Discord. Yeah. So yeah, I think it hit it pretty well. I'll be keeping that one. Sure, welcome to show me. All right, so I don't know if they fixed this, but if you're using Chat, could you VC for a couple of seconds? VC? Let's go see my Discord here. Voice chat? You want a voice chat? Is that what that's supposed to say? Let's see here. Sure, I could voice chat with you. I could do what I. Let's see here. Are you Arctic? No, you're not Arctic. Oh, you are Arctic. League of Legends. Really? Let's see. Let's join the lounge. Join.
Hey.
Hello.
I mean, I never talked to you in person. Hi. It's me.
How's it going?
Yeah, nice to meet you. I'm happy to talk to you.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
you too, man.
This is the word. I mean, when I show the game, if you want to add some comments, you can be brutally honest with me. Let it be sad or something like this. I'm just trying my best to be better and better. Just my first year in college, as you know.
Yeah.
I just put the switch. Does it work? Can you see anything?
Don't know. This is all I'm seeing right now. I don't see. See, am I like?
I mean, can you see my screenshot?
Oh, there we go. Let's see. Watch. No, that's my stream. It might not let me because I'm streaming. Let me disable my stream thing here.
I mean,
okay.
I think you could join my screenshot on this channel.
Yeah, but I think
you see my League of Legends. I was in game like offline. I mean, I'm just FKing, like I'm playing the game.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of people are doing. Let's see. I don't see. See, what do I want to see here though? This.
I mean, tell me when you can see the whole screen. Like, just moving my cursor around.
Nothing's loading. Do I need to? Oh, maybe I need to like.
I'm gonna retry it.
Share your. You have it. Oh, there it goes. There goes something.
Okay. Oh, okay, my bad.
Oh, something was starting to happen. Let's see. No. Well.
Okay, that should work.
Let's see here. No, not seeing. Let's see here. Smooch. Why am I not seeing it? I just.
Oh, I think you have to click on it on that button.
Oh, I see here. Pop out.
No, no, not my profile, like the screen share.
Where's the screen share at?
Click on my profile again.
All
I
right.
think you zoomed on my profile pic.
Oh, here. Open this.
Yeah, and it shows next to my profile, like next to my yeah, that one I think. Yeah, there's a delay on the Twitch live and here. I sound like an NPC.
Double click user to watch. I can go to your stream and look.
Yeah, I think now it works. Ah, it's loading now. Oh, now it works. My bad. Uh, does it work? Ah, okay. Can you see my screen?
I can. You're showing me, so my stuff is going. It's like it looks like an infinite
Oh,
thing.
I was I was on the browser. Now I'm on my Discord. Can you see my
I
Discord?
can see your thing. Yeah, I can see your thing moving
Oh,
around. Yeah.
finally. So this is my art. This is basically I'm just gonna share my game first. So I had to simulate this GT menu.
Yeah.
I got my those are pictures by the way. Those are not text. I don't really know how to implement text from SDL in this.
Oh,
And
for where it says
please
play.
don't. Those are just pictures.
Huh.
It's
Okay.
not like it's text or something. I fake simulate some text. This is what I mean. And this is my game. This is what I'm trying
Hey,
to
it's
do
a
in the past
game.
couple
That's fine, man. You're
of
working on something. So he's going
This is my
around picking up
SDL.
coins. Are you actually collecting the coins?
No, I mean I don't
He's just hitting them.
stock them
Is
anywhere.
right now he's just hitting them.
Yeah. I don't. I mean I need to implement the TTF. I mean not the TTF. Yeah, the TTF fonts and my SDL functions for the text just to make, let's say, put up here like on top score and just
Yeah.
increment whenever you like whenever the dog touches the coin. I have them like in here. It's easy to increment an integer like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and just repeat that. It's in a while, so it's gonna be easy to increment itself. And this is my code. I got everything in just one header, by the way, just to communicate easier with them, with those. I think
Wow.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every
So you're just
function.
using
This is
like
for my
arrow.
text.
You're just using arrow keys to move around.
Yeah, it has input.
Nice. Yeah.
Kind of nice, kind of easy to use. Not
Yeah.
like
While you're getting
some
started,
people.
you're getting stuff going. I mean, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, but I'm just
You
really
got. I mean,
bad
you're
at
at the
this.
beginning
Like,
of whatever you're doing, but I could definitely see how you're trying. I know you were saying you want to try to get multiplayer, so you want to try to keep track of how many points
yeah,
each person
I
has.
wanted to experience some networking stuff, but it seems like I'm very stupid. And this is just my main. Main looks clean, kind of clean.
Yeah. Main
I
often is pretty clean because it's going to make calls to other things usually. So you
mm-hmm.
don't usually have a ton in main. It just
Yeah.
makes the calls that you need to get things going. It's kind of a starter. It's kind of almost like startup. In fact, a lot of times there's a startup function that main calls.
Ah, by the way, remember when I talked about opening multiple clients?
Oh, because you can keep
I
starting
was,
it.
yeah. I just press game, opens one. What? I mean, I need to keep track of this. I forgot to make this, but I was thinking about some. Um, how can I check this? So I made some logs. Okay, this is just this is a big stuff. So what if can I use a text for this, like to verify and just output from the file text and just check if it's opened already to close the other like the old one and keep track on the new one. Like can I verify this on a text file? Like here,
You mean
just
as far
print a
as what's? Oh,
message,
you're trying to
every
like
message.
having each one create its own log text?
No. Just to check this, like when the two clients are opened, to check this stuff, like on a text file. Like whenever I open one client, whenever I open my client right now, it's
And
gonna
you
be a message on this,
okay?
and, and it goes here.
Okay.
I was thinking, so if I got this message, can I use this message to check with, let's say, another message, and if are more than one, to close the old one and keep the new one.
No,
Like
I mean you
since there is
can
like
you
one
can
time.
do that. Yeah, I'm sure you can. But if it was me, I would try to set up
It's like
something.
too much.
That's kind of like the long way to do it. You don't want your game to have to
This
start to be
stupidly.
stopped. You don't want your game to have to stop to be start to be stopped. You'd rather it just go, "Oh, I can't start this." So
Yeah, I hope for a function. I hope for a function.
so yeah, I mean like if you click on Copilot up there in the upper corner up in the middle there, just say open chat and then just
I mean, I have this.
you've reached your monthly. Oh, you've hit your limit. Okay, well that's fine. Use a different window. Go to Windows, or one of your Edge or something, whatever your browser is, and then just go to ChatGPT or Claude. I like Claude, but ChatGPT will probably be fine.
I
And
have an
then
issue here, like yesterday.
yeah, oh,
Trying
3D
to
rendering.
translate. Yeah,
Yeah. No, okay, so
this is my language.
now you said your app's pretty simple. So what you might want to do is even
Yeah.
give it the part of the app that calls the XE. When the XE is run, what is the method you're using to execute it, or the function?
I mean, it's just to make file like this compile
This is
stuff. I mean,
processing
like,
it. No, but that's the
yeah.
call. Like if you click, that's going to execute. But where's the
Mhm.
function that's actually going to run it? I mean, is there like a function or something somewhere that goes, let's process this code, and oh, I've been called. So it's probably the main.
I mean, the main one is calling everything. Like this is the, let's say, the entry point.
Okay, so copy this function, and you're writing in what? I don't know what code this is.
Uh,
What language is this?
Calling my C++.
Oh, C++. Okay, so now go back to your ChatGPT, and go to the top. Just kind of move your cursor to the top, and then go to the kind of push up to there. Now, one of the things you won't be able to hit enter. You won't be able to hit enter, but that's fine. Or you can go all the way. No, you leave that there. Leave everything in there. All right. So this is a C++ app that is allowing me to open more than one session. I would like to have it prevent me from opening more than one client at a time.
And to prevent me to open multiple ones.
Yes. That is allowing me to open more than one session. I want it to prevent me from opening multiple sessions.
My bad. Prevent me from. Oops.
Or thus allowing, and then at the end of that say thus allowing only one instance to exist. And just hit enter, see what it says.
Yeah, this is it. Okay. To prevent multiple, I feel like an NPC doing this.
See, now it's putting in some code that's going to try to check for your existing sessions, and it should help you.
I actually have one. Wait, what did he use? Create new.
It's probably going to be very similar to your code because it's only going to put in the parts that it needs. But take a look. So because a lot of your stuff will be the same, but it's going to put in some stuff that should help you change that.
Just this one?
Is that it?
Oh, I think it's from what this? From the me. Oh, it's from my. Okay, I have no idea. Yeah.
Well, if it's from an import or something that you're importing into the app,
It's from my.
I usually make a habit of opening the session side by side, comparing, making sure that what it's doing, because you don't want to just like take it in wholesale. So like you open it and put your two apps side by side, and then go, okay, it's changing this line of code, it's putting in this line of code. And this way you know what it's doing. Because sometimes people will just copy the whole thing and replace, and then they don't realize that it broke something. So it's good to know exactly what
I know.
the AI is giving you. But once you've got everything in place,
I don't think it is it.
and then you can test it and see where it takes you.
I don't think this is breaking anything. I hope this works like I have no idea. Okay, bomb, and open another one. I don't think I can here. Okay, of course I can't. Uh, mm, Still doesn't check. I was sure it doesn't check. Like it's not checking in real time. Like I don't
Well, did
have,
you
let's
now
say,
the the ones you started? You did recompile it and put it all back in, right?
mm-hmm.
Because you had to
Oh, I
recompile.
did not compile it.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're gonna have to
I did not
recompile it
compile
back
it.
into the XE because the original XE doesn't
Oh, I
know.
forgot. No, I actually forgot. Make now I compile this. Oh,
Another
of
instance is
course I
already
can't
running,
use.
so it is kind of putting in some code of something. It does
Oh,
have.
no, this
Oh,
is
there's
already running.
some
Hello.
syntax. You got a syntax issue of some kind with the message.
Just copy paste it. I have no
I
idea.
don't know
I
C++.
don't know.
Yeah, you might want to go back and look, and see if you missed a piece of code, and if not, you can.
This one.
And that's the only thing that changed
Nothing.
because short of side by side comparisons, I can't tell what
Yeah.
else it's doing. So you could
Hmm.
actually put it in there and say, I'm getting a syntax error for this. Um,
For this one, you just copy
you
this.
can copy that and just say, I'm getting a syntax error. Knowing nothing about, not,
Oh, of course, bro. It's already running twice or what? Option one, use NEC. What?
yeah, it's just because it's different styles of the message box, it looks like.
At this point, I'm just taking everything.
Yeah, that's what
Just
I do
try
when it's
and
new. If it's new
make
code,
it
I'll just let
work.
it give me whatever and see what it does. Hopefully it'll compile for you okay this time.
Phew. It's not even working then.
No, it
I
worked.
bet
Just
it works.
took a second. Sometimes,
There's no way. I don't think it works like it's supposed to work. Now I can type in here. What? Oh, finally.
there you go.
And what? What happens now?
You just get a message that
Oh,
says you can't do it.
finally. Just for this one, it took me like, oh
So you just
man.
gotta. That's what I
Says
say. You just gotta be able to give the right
finally.
information to your. Now keep in mind, all your. Be ready to swap over to Claude when you run out of ChatGPTs, because you'll get like 20 out of ChatGPT, and then you'll get about maybe 10 out of Claude. So yeah, and if you can, each request can have multiple questions in it. So if you've got multiple issues, try to give it everything it needs and put all the questions into one, and that'll count as a single request versus trying to do each one separately, because then you'll burn up all of your requests.
Okay, what happened now? What? Oh, this is even error for. Back. Compile this. Okay, this is some buggy stuff. I have no idea what happened. Error, and then no errors. Like I hate Visual Studio Code for this. On my console now. No, I could not. I think you saw that.
It's
I had
probably
to open
better.
another
It's
tab.
something, yeah.
Finally,
Yeah, seems to be working.
yeah, it works now. Okay, I have my old one, which is good. Which is good.
Yeah, your
Let's
first one
fix
will
it.
be good, and then
Finally,
your second one will.
finally, finally. Phew, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Finally.
Well, it's one thing at a
It is.
time,
I
man. That's how
never
it
joined
goes.
this.
You
Like,
just keep knocking them off one item at a time, and you'll get there.
yeah,
And you just got to keep it, keep
this is something.
every small object. The smaller the smaller, more precise the question, the better the AI will be at answering for you. And you just got to give it the code that's relevant, because you're starting your app here. So this is where you need to stop it from doing a second one. And it's the same with any of your code. So you don't want
Yeah.
to ever give it the actual XE or anything like that, because it can't read that stuff. But you give it the chunk of code that matters to your question, and then it can try to edit that code or help you come up with a solution.
I'm just happy that I made it work. I mean, not me, but I could never know
Hey,
about this. like who knows, create mood text and stuff like.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I'm not
I'm
that
with you
good.
there. I mean, the AI comes up with stuff, but at the same thing, you see this, and now you know that that exists. And the more you work with AI and it gives you stuff, eventually you start to understand how it's all coming together. It's
Oh,
like I've learned so much Go, but even though AI has been typing a lot of it out for me, I can now look at it and go, oh, I know how this is assembled now. And a lot of times now it's like, well, if AI is not getting it, I'm like, well, but don't we normally do this or this? And it goes, oh, yeah, let me go fix that. So you can
yeah,
actually
I'm good for this.
guide it. Once you start learning more, you'll start getting a better feel for what it's doing. So, yeah, you'll still learn from all the stuff. What I've noticed that's really nice with AI
Hmm.
is when you're doing like the graphical portions of things, right? Because the AI knows
Oh,
all the ways to manipulate the graphics. It knows all that detailed code like CSS or whatever if you're doing a website. But it knows all the ways to manipulate the graphics, all those little functions and tidbits. It'd be tough for anybody to know all those things, right? Because there's so many different ways to manipulate it. And so I often will say, this is kind of what I want it to look like and what I want it to do. And it'll draw it up, and I'll look at the code. I'm like, I would have never known to call this piece or that piece. I never even knew that existed, you know? So
yeah.
it's just, there's just so many different CSS commands and things that you don't realize. AI knows all that, and it says, oh, this is what you want? All right, well, I'll just look at my vast library of knowledge and drop it out there. And then I start to see and know it, but I still don't think I'd ever want to type some of the stuff it gives me because it's just like, it takes forever, you know? It takes so long to type stuff out, and doing it without typos of your own is too easy to do. Or too hard to type it out without typos because humans are, we're using a keyboard. We don't just have drop it on the screen knowledge. So I think AI speeds things up a lot just in the fact that it isn't going to make typos. That already eliminates a lot right there. You get it all in there. There's no typos. Now it makes mistakes because it might forget this variable piece or that piece, but humans do that too. So it's just a matter of being able to pin it down, see what it's doing, and narrowing down the questions to help solve. Once it drops a bunch of code for you, you go, okay, well, let's work on this little piece. This piece doesn't work right. And it says, oh, well, we need to fix it with this or that. And so you just got to kind of work with it like a junior partner. And you're kind of the lead on the process. And AI will help you get through it, man. You'll get a lot of stuff done. You'll be amazed at how much progress you make on your coding when you start integrating AI with the right questions and prompts. You just got to give it enough detail so that it can get it right the first time and you're not wasting questions.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes it happens. I mean, it worked for me, but sometimes I just don't tell many details like I should.
Yeah, and you know what? What I was
But yeah.
doing, especially at the beginning, is I actually wrote. I use OneNote, and I created a little snippet in my OneNote that gave all the information that I would normally want to give to it just out of default. Like this is a React app using Mongo database, using Go backend, and so at least knows all the languages you're using, and then it can create it in the right form. In fact, one of the things I realized too, I had to tell it that I was using Next.js, not just React, because it would sometimes give you
Hmm.
different versions of React. So it's like, no, this is
Yeah.
Next.js.
I
Oh,
don't
you're
know.
using
Or
Next.js.
ChatGPT.
So yeah, you
But
had with ChatGPT or Claude, whoever, if you give them all the right details. So I would just put that in as my first piece. I'd copy that in from my OneNote, all of the parameters of what I'm using, and then I'd ask my question. And then it knew exactly what kind of code and where to, what stuff to give you in response. Now I've gotten to the point where my app is so big, the code I give it, it's able to identify what languages and stuff. But early on, when it was just little pieces of this and little pieces of that, it struggled to know what I was working on. So I'm not at that point anymore. But still, you have to give it very good background, especially when you're using the web versions, because the Visual Studio one can look at your code and kind of figure it out. But if you're using the web one and you're trying to ask a question and you're only giving it snippets, then it doesn't have a full context without your help.
yeah, I wanted to add that fact I'm kind of embarrassed about my recent project in SDL. I mean, I heard about SDL being the not giving too much graphics engine. Like it's not like Unity.
Which one
gives
are
a
you?
lot of
What are you
graphics and
using for
stuff.
your graphics engine?
SDL. I mean, yeah, graphics. I need to put my own pictures, my own stuff to set them, to make everything on my own. Doesn't it's
Hey, well, that's
you cannot. It's not like Unity or something like this clearly, but like it's an old engine which is not like Unreal or Unity. Oh, my accent sucks, but trying to prove my points to explain myself.
yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
fine.
it's just an old engine. It's kind of old, but it's good. It has input, graphics, and the output and stuff. I don't know how many things it has, but I know I can put graphics on it. Graphics.
Well, that's the important
It's
thing.
kind of hard to use.
You're getting what you need in there. So
This is my little project. My little
and
project.
there's
There's something simple.
nothing to be embarrassed about. You're progressing, right? It starts off as a little project. If you have bigger ideas, you just start adding. What else would you like to see happen? And then you start working
Yeah,
towards that next step. It'll get there. I mean, there's nothing to be embarrassed. But my app, when I first started it, look at one of my earliest videos on my Active Mind Gamer. If you go there, the earliest ones I did, I had some. My rendering of this game was just me running a bunch of numbers on the screen that was coming from a random number process, and it would just drop stuff
oh,
on the screen. It was very generic and nothing-ish. And then you look at it again 6 weeks later, and I've got a football moving back and forth and scoreboard and everything kind of coming in, and all that's done with a website. So the progress is slow, but it's really not. I mean, if you look at a game development, if you're can take 2 to 4 years, depending on how complex it is.
yeah, it's
And
kind of hard. I mean,
but now,
library.
I think now with AI, it's realistic to cut that time in half. You could probably do it in 1 to 2 years if you learn to really work with AI and start to understand what it's capable of. Like I'm learning its limits now, but I don't think its limits will stop me. I just need to stop trying to give it too much. Like I get overconfident in what it can do, and then I give it too much, and it just vomits on my screen with a bunch of stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. That's totally not what I wanted. But then I'll go, okay, now let's work on just this piece or just this piece. And if you learn the scope of what it's capable of, you can generally make pretty good progress, and it'll be more satisfying. Because the problem is when it gives you the vomit code, it's not that it's not functional, it just doesn't work with everything else, so you end up having to clean it up and restructure it. You spend a lot of time trying to get that fixed, and that's when you start slowing down. So I've been doing a lot of refactoring these last couple of weeks, and I incorporate the AI to help me doing that, but a lot of times it
Oh,
misses stuff when you're refactoring, like, oh, I didn't see this or I didn't know that, and then you end up redoing stuff all the time. So it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes to refactor a big app. And my app, I did a code line count on it the other day. This is what I've written since November. It said I had 47,000 lines of code already.
oh,
And I kind of looked at the code counts because it tells you what types of languages you have. And I'm thinking it's closer to 30,000, but still it's 30,000. Because a lot of those other lines of code were related to, the system and the setup files and things that aren't really my code. But those are just, several thousand lines. Versus, so I've written 30,000 lines of code in 98 days, according to my dev count. So that's a lot of lines of code.
How many passed by now? 90 or 95. Well, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. So yeah, my current day log is 98, so it's not too much. But so it's kind of cool to be able to get a grasp of what I've done. I didn't realize I've written that many lines of code already, but it makes sense because some of these functions, in fact, I almost want to refactor some of them, like this function or this file here. Is it this one?
By the way, quick question about AI, about the refactoring code. When you want to like refactor the whole file, like the whole code, just to make it like nice and stuff. I mean, you should put the whole file or the whole code to the AI thingy, and it's gonna like fix the whole. I mean, it's gonna refactor by itself by the AI.
It can, but you got to tell it what you want. I mean, it's not just you got to say I want this thing or I want this. Like for example, one of my refactorings would be when I noticed that say one service is set up differently from another service. You know, they do the same basic things, but they do it differently, and I don't like that. I want consistency. So I'll tell the AI, look, this one functions the way I want. It's doing the kind of handling I want. I want to refactor this code or this function to operate in the same method so that all of my services work, you know, alike. They do the same things in the same way. And so it'll refactor it. And a lot of times it just kind of restructures the code, and now it's doing the same kind of calls. Makes it a lot easier when you're bouncing around between the services just to recognize what's happening on your own. Because if it's doing it different, I have to interpret it myself. I'm like, okay, well, why is it doing it this and it's doing that, and why? You know, it's just easier to go, okay, it's doing the same thing because you learn the processes. And also things like naming conventions. I like my naming conventions to be standard, but I've noticed that sometimes the AI will give me code in a different type of naming process versus, you know, like it'll use a camel case in one case or snake case in another. And I'm like, well, I don't want two mixes of all these case naming. That's screwing me up. Put everything in the same case standard so that I don't.
That's just stressful, in my opinion. Just.
Yeah, and the bigger your app gets, the more likely it's going to do stuff like that, because you're just going to miss it. So you look at the code, and, oh, it pops this in. And you didn't realize that it did the naming different. And then later on, you're looking at how come this one function is using variables named like this or text like that. Like, all right, so if it's easy, you can refix it yourself. But if it ends up being an entire page or, you know, miscellaneous pages throughout your code, then it's a pain to fix it. So you got to kind of stay on top of it.
Yeah, by the way, I like that every aspect which comes with working in this, let's say, programming stuff, like when you use this engine, this kind of old engine, it comes with, and using the views of the code, which we have to manage, you have to actually manage alone, compiling files and stuff, folders. Yeah. It's just like having a structure, like, I mean, you have seen my source code. I mean, I got the DLLs and the whole files and that. Okay, that's kind of ugly, but I got my headers on different locations and stuff like this. Like, I like this structure. Like, I don't want them to be just in one place. I want to like split them up and use them from different locations, let's say.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of what. That's another thing. That's another good thing that AI is really good for. If you're trying to build a nice structured, industry standard types of function for your site, a lot of times I'll ask it. I'll go, well, what is the standard for this type of app, far as file structures go, so that I can. How do you know the best way to break up your files? And it'll tell you, well, most of these apps, you know, out there are using this kind of setup. And then you can kind of build your app around that so it becomes a familiar standard file structure, and it'll help you to kind of learn the industry and how things are actually done out there. Like you have a main, but you might also have certain types of other, like for me, when I was doing my microservices, I wanted to kind of make sure I standardized around how microservices are often set up. And although there's a couple of ways, the most common one is like mine, where I have a main.go, a store.go, a service.go, and then I also have this gRPC handler for my gRPC stuff. And that's kind of like a standard that you know that's out there in the world. The types holds all your structs. The store handles all your database communication. The service is kind of where your functions and the meat of your app go. And then the main is kind of like the startup. And then the gRPC handler handles all the communications between my gateway and my application.
Well, I have seen that, yeah. With multiple services, I could never work with this like you do. Like, I wish I would know this stuff. Like,
it's not, look,
multiple services working together. It's just,
before December, I had never done this before. Okay, so it's not that you can't do it. You just gotta be willing to jump in there and start. And having, you know, if you need,
I never experienced it.
You need AI to handle it. Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, I had never set up a microservices architecture like this before. I had built one microservice, but it wasn't using a gateway or nothing. It was basically just an app with a couple of endpoints. I had no idea how to make them all communicate, how to make them all run through a gateway like I'm doing now. But with AI guiding each step, I go, I need this service, then I need this, and the good place to start is by giving AI will tell you what's the normal architecture for this, and it'll give you the steps. It'll say, well, you need this, this, this. All right, let's build the first one, and then it'll give you some idea how to set up the first one, and then you kind of take that and you kind of start playing with that one, and then it says, all right, now you need this piece, and then you kind of go down the checklist and slowly start adding in parts, and before you know it, like I have, a few months later, I've got me 10 microservices going through a gateway that is being called by my front end UI that I can now, if I go do Unity, I can call all these same functions and bring all my data into the Unity app without having to reprogram anything. I can just call those pieces and send it to the UI. And then all I'm doing when I'm developing Unity or React is building the front end. I don't need to worry about the logic of my simulator or the coaches, the playbook or the game plan or any of that stuff, because it's all already built in the back end. So you just kind of work on it in small chunks. That's the thing. You pick the littlest piece and you say, all right, how do I do this one? And it'll help you get that. And then you say, all right, let's go to the next one. And eventually you start seeing the patterns. You start to understand how it's assembling. Because I didn't even know Go. I mean, I didn't even know Go existed before December. Apparently it's been around for quite some time. But I said, Go is a really yeah, it says
Taizo at the time, C++ game.
Yeah.
Game, Go.
See, I kind of wanted to have Go. I said I want to have a kind of a microservices architecture. What's the most common back end for games? And they would say, well, it's either Go or Java are the most common back end microservices. And I says, oh, really? For games that are written on Android? And they go, yeah, and that's what it was saying. I'm like, oh. I said, well, what's Go? It gave me a description of what Go is. I'm like, okay, that didn't help. But that's the most popular. Let's go with Go. I'd rather do Go than Java because I knew Java a little bit, and it felt to me like it's a little too it's too floaty to me. I don't know. I feel like it's not a very I don't know. I don't feel like it's a good language for dependent coding. I don't know why. It's probably just in my head. A lot of people use it, but it's probably one reason why it's so popular because it's an easy language to learn. But I mean, Java is like a very deep version of JavaScript. JavaScript is a smaller. It's branched off to the point where it's almost its own language, but it's yeah. And so ultimately, I said, yeah, let's do Go. And then it said, all right, what database is most commonly used? And I said, well, usually they're using like Mongo database or this database or SQL Server were the two, MongoDB or SQL Server. I know SQL Server, but I also know that SQL Server licenses are really expensive. And I'm like, well, cost-wise, I think MongoDB would be the better choice. And it says, yeah, that's probably true. So I decided to go with Mongo database. So I did the MongoDB. And so that's what I'm doing here. But the thing is, I wouldn't even call myself all that knowledgeable in Mongo because I do all of the database stuff straight through Go because I said, all right, well, I want to build this table and seed the data all from within Go. So when my services start, it'll seed the basic data that needs to be in the database when it starts up or when it's created. And this way, all of my stuff goes in. And then if I ever need to update or change the seed data, I just fix those files. And then when the app starts again, the service starts again, it'll reload my seed data. So all of my tables are loaded with what they need to have. And then my apps can run. What's nice is right now I could delete my database and then I go run it again. It'll immediately get rebuilt, repopulated, all the stuff that I need. It just goes back into the database. And it's all because it's being handled straight from my application. So that allows me to make significant changes to the database and go, okay, well, my database is no longer in line. Delete it and restart, and it'll just rebuild it, and it'll build it in the new form of whatever I've done to my structures. So
at this point, why nobody? How come nobody hires this guy? I mean, like, hire my guy, bro. Why is Microsoft ignoring my guy, bro?
You know, the biggest problem with a lot of these companies, and I don't know why it is for me anyway, is that they all have these tests they want you to take, right? They have they have all these developer tests, and what they do is they ask you some obscure random thing and go, okay, develop this, and you've got 30 minutes, and I'm looking at it going, I could, but do I get any kind? I haven't used this language in 6 months. Can I, reference anything? And generally, the answer is no. Just kind of go through it. And then they say something like, "We're not really worried about if you get it right. We just want to see your thought process." That's full of crap. They do not. If you if you get it wrong or you don't get it quickly, they're like, "Yeah, this guy doesn't know what he's doing." And
that's an easy way to say, no, you're not hired, my bad. Just go away.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, no. And I think it's a terrible way to judge people.
You're making it up.
If a person's got 20 years of development experience, they probably earned that by way of figuring things out. They may or may not memorize every line of code or every syntactical function you can call, but they're going to get it figured out. And in my case, look, I've done, in 100 days, I've developed a ton of code in development, and I got a clean, good-looking app, I think, for what it's done so far. I think I'm well on my way to getting... I think within a year, I could have... I'm a year total, like by maybe October, I could have me a beta version of this thing out. Maybe alpha, but still, something pretty early, fully functional, that's doing a lot of what I have planned, because I think it's moving along way faster than I expected. Honestly, without AI though, I think I'm still 6 months from where I am right now without AI. So I feel like I've cut like 6 months off of my development time just to get where I'm at, because it would have taken me a ton of time just to learn these languages I had never knew. And I didn't know all the different functions and methods and ways to do this. And all that takes time to learn, right? Because you're building up that knowledge. And by the time you have that knowledge and you're starting to implement it, it could take weeks to do what you could possibly do with AI in, in a couple of hours.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, because...
If you know the syntax, then you're good.
Syntax helps a lot, but do you know all the functions and methods you can call?
Oh yeah, that's just
these languages are big. It's so you know how things are syntactically correct. Like I can look at this now and understand what's going on because I understand the syntax now, but I still wouldn't know half the time AI is throwing functions and methods at me. I'm like, I didn't even know that existed. And how long would it have taken me to figure out that was what I needed if I didn't have something telling me, hey, you can do it this way? I'm like, now I know it's there and I can use it. And in time, I'll be spending so much time in here. I'm finding already that I'm writing small functions and methods on my own without AI because I can do it faster than it'll take me to ask the question. Or a lot of times it's not giving me the solution I want, so I just go in there and like, well, I figure it out because now I understand it enough. So I am learning this stuff. And maybe honestly, I think I've learned Go way faster with AI. People say people who use AI aren't learning the languages. I'm saying I don't think that's true. If you know enough about programming like I do, 20 some years, I understand how it's supposed to be assembled and what code should look like and how it should be laid out and the processes to getting things built from scratch. And therefore, when I see these languages, I can kind of gronk it pretty quickly and start putting it together. And I think that's the case for anybody with experience. And even at the beginning, you're going to learn a lot faster because you're going to see all those patterns and stuff that are getting built. And you just got to learn to don't get too caught up in the latest trend. And I hope you don't do this because I think it's terrible. It's called vibe coding. Have you heard of it? Mm-mm. Vibe coding is basically a developer who knows very little, if anything, about coding. But they go give the entire structure to AI and say, I want this app, this game, this tool, whatever. And they just put a bunch of they're very good. They're learning the AI questions, and then they expect AI to build it. And a lot of times it will build a functional app, but it's not like nothing complex like a game or anything like that because I already know it would explode. And if it could do a basic game, maybe simple like snake game. I think somebody was testing it on AI. Somebody did a snake game where they gave it this long list of criteria and it built a snake game that you could, you know what the snake game is, right? Where it's kind of like your duck game. It's going around picking up little things and gets bigger and fatter.
This was my thing. Just a copy from Pac-Man or something like this, like 2D, something like simple, so I can use those functions, HTML functions.
Yeah,
something simple. Because
exactly.
I tried to make something really bad, and I gave up. Like, oh, calm myself down a little bit. Like, oh, you're stupid.
Well, you know, one of the ways to go is not just come up with your own idea. This is what I like to do in developing. It's find something you really enjoy, like a game that you really like, or especially if you're doing game development, right? But then look at the game more critically and go, what is it about this game that I like, and what could be done better? What's different about this? What would I do if I was developing this game? And what's it missing? And then go play other games that are similar. You know, like if you're doing a tactical game, maybe play 3 or 4 or 5 different tactical games. And kind of see what it is about them, and see if there's anything these games don't have that you wish they did have.
Oh, I can show you more if you want, but it's not C++.
Well, that doesn't matter. No.
I don't want you to show it on the live stream. I don't know if that's a good idea.
Oh no.
It's not 18 plus or something like. It's just me being embarrassing.
No, it's not. You know, like anything you're learning is good, right? So you could be embarrassed by your beginnings, or you could just be proud of the fact that you're getting stuff done and you're learning stuff. And that's kind of how, like I said, you're going to have, you know, experience, lack of experience, doesn't matter. Just learn. Don't be afraid to use the tools available to you. If there's a lot of people I think out there who don't want to use AI because it's like, oh well, that's cheating. I don't want to use AI. Well, I'm like, that's fine, but plan to take a lot longer to get your job done. You know,
I only use AI just to learn like the HDL functions. Who knows them? Who looks on them on the wiki? So I just ask AI, can you please teach me like how can I open a window using HDL because I don't know the functions and stuff.
Yeah, but you keep in mind, even if you use it for everything, even if you kind of know, because you know I got to write out this entire class or function or method or whatever it is, it's going to take you a while to type it out. Even if you asked it and go, I want to create a function that does blah, and you're telling it exactly what you want because you already know what it's going to do. Yes, it's going to do it for you, but you're going to see the correct way to do it. And you're going to slowly start seeing the patterns. And as you start creating more and more functions, your game's going to develop way faster. You're going to see results a lot faster. And you're also going to see things and absorb things that you would not have done if you were just doing it by yourself because you were learning it. So I don't believe AI is cheating. I think it's accelerating. It's allowing you to get past all of the tedium of programming, the fun stuff. You get to do the fun stuff. You get to create and imagine what is possible, and the AI is just going to help you get there a lot faster because you don't have to work on all the tedious stuff. Because as your game gets bigger, there's going to be a lot of code. If I was typing 40,000 lines of code, if somebody gave me 40,000 lines worth of documents and just said, go type this, just go type these 40,000 lines, it would have taken me this long just to straight up type 40,000 lines of code. Especially without errors. And then they say, well, you know, parse it out into all these different files and groupings and do all this stuff. Just that would have taken me forever. And I'll tell you what, I would have learned a lot less than I've learned letting AI do the typing. And I get to assemble it all. And my mind is being able to wrap around how it's coming together. And there's no way I would have, it's just too much information while you're trying to type. So let AI do the typing, man. You're going to learn plenty. And you're going to start seeing where it's making mistakes that you need to fix. But as you start learning it, you're going to be able to fix those yourself. You're going to go, oh, well, it did this variable. It put these in this line. I don't want it like that because my other one does it like this. And so I'm going to redo it. And you're going to slowly start doing a bunch of chunks by yourself. And you're going to realize, hey, I think I actually know what I'm doing now. And I didn't realize it. But now I've written a game that's, 30% complete. So I think
the only networking my bad. The only networking stuff I know it's in this studio for Roblox.
And again, I don't think you need to know a lot of networking stuff. What you need to know is a lot of endpoint and URL stuff. There's networking is about you're trying to communicate from PC to PC without using like the HTTP protocols, and I don't think you need to do that so much anymore. It's pretty uncommon that you can't communicate through internet protocols, which are so much easier to use than trying to communicate directly with the PC through networking processes. I say, it's not worth the effort. I mean, there probably is some reason to do it. Like if you're working with hardware, like if you're trying to work with a printer or any other networking tools, like maybe even Internet of Things, you might have some. Even those are starting to use internet protocols to communicate. So I think it's just becoming less and less necessary to know the intricacies of network infrastructures. So I think you need to start looking at how to develop your code using, internet protocols. Like, so here's my gateway. Like if I show you my gateway here, where's my gateway? BFFM web. Gateway. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. Okay, gateway. So all of my services have their own piece in the gateway. The playbook, the simulator, the streamer. So if I go in here, they all have endpoints defined. So if I were to go to my localhost 8080 and type API streamer create, and then I would send it as a header, my header request, which is basically who am I creating this for? The user ID in this case. Or if I'm looking at game status, I might be passing my streamer key, which is a value that the user has loaded when they logged into my app. It'll send back that streamer key to this path, and it'll come back as, hey, this game is running or waiting or whatever, so it's looking for it. And this is like me setting the team. This is that piece, I don't know if you saw when I was setting up my streamer games, that another person could go onto the internet, type in the whole path, API streamer key, set team, and then they would pass the name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this path to a command that can be loaded up through chat. So like you right now in Twitch could say set team equals, and it would put in whatever team you put in. So like if you put the Bears, it would go get the Bears and put it into the game. And then you would see on the front end, it would load up the Bears have been submitted. And then somebody else might come along and submit team equals Broncos, and it would put the Broncos in, and it'll say, okay, game about to start. We have both of our teams. And so it's just waiting for those endpoints. So all of my communication is happening through endpoints. And so if you were working with another person who wants to play head to head, they would have endpoints in their certain actions that they would do. Say they want to join a game, and that would send out an endpoint request, and it would say, okay, my name, my user ID, this is my team ID, or in your case, it could be a character, whatever. It'll send that information, and then it'll route it back to the other person whose game is currently got a status of waiting, and it would join that game that's waiting. So you would have sent back the necessary information. So again, that's all I'm working with, the internet communication protocols, all these API paths. And these are for all the things I've done.
I see that it's the same function. No, I don't think it's the same function name. Like router dot handle function.
Yeah, see, this is just what's handling the function. It's handling this. So this is a function that's handling the endpoint. And then it's going, okay, the endpoint came in and called. The function that it's calling is this, and it's passed.
Oh, it goes through the processes, like.
Right.
Oh,
so then these are the functions it's actually calling. The play commander, buffer, the team by stream handler. All this stuff is a handler that's sending it back to the services that I created. So remember, gateway is just a router. So it's getting this and going, oh, this one belongs to, the command process. And then there's functions down here. See how these handlers are? It says get pending command handler. So if I go down here, there's a function called get pending command handler. And this function then goes through and says, okay, I got a game ID. What is the command I want? And then it goes and uses a different process to go and call, whatever it needs to get the application running. So it's going to keep calling. It's going to forward it all back to the simulator, which is my simulator service. Back here, playbook.
looks good to me. Looks actually good. So the UI, I see a little scroll. I remember when you
Was creating that.
search for scrolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, you search for scrolls, and that was like 10 scrolls, and like they were so bad. This one is actually good. I
You
think
know,
I said that this looks good. This scroll looks good. I think, or no, maybe I don't remember, but I remember that time when you
yeah.
search for scrolls.
ChatGPT is getting way good though now. I mean, like, did you see that thing? I mean, I asked it for a red line drawing of a football player on a yellow on a yellow. I said a yellow old scroll style background, plain background. So I wanted to take this and put it small, and I'm going to put it over the top of my image here. I'm just going to put like a football player here and here, have some little backgrounds, and just to kind of give it, a little bit of thematic flavor. And so I have one that's got. I asked it. Okay, I want the same thing I said, except I want it to be a snake kind of character because I have a snake player race, and it did a pretty good job. I think that's pretty good. I wish they had used football pads instead of a T-shirt, but it's still
Looks good.
it's still.
AI, nobody has it, so it's all good.
And my thought is, you put it on here because really all it's meant to be here is like a little, like almost like the coach scribbled it out on his scroll. Because we're doing it in a fantasy type setting where scrolls are kind of a thing, but it's not meant to be an actual player. It's just meant to be like somebody was doodling on the paper. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, just so that it kind of adds that flavor. The coach is putting his X's and O's, and he's got these little characters on the paper because that's part of the charm of the game. I'm just trying to give it that feel and look. So.
By the way, you said you use Mongo, Mongo, yeah?
Yeah,
That's
Mongo is my
type of database.
database in the background. Yeah.
Okay. So in my case, just a quick question because I mean I'm not that experienced, as you can see. What should be better for me? Like, of course not Mongo, but like SQL should be good for me from this game. If I should save, let's say, if I would make a login system, I need those accounts to store them in
Yeah.
place, like
Um,
database. Like, what should be good for me? Like,
I
in this
would.
case.
I mean, if you're doing it on a local system, um,
Mm-hmm.
like you're trying to just like everything's going to sit there on your machine, never go anywhere else, then
Mm-hmm.
you can use anything. You can use SQL Express, you can use Mongo, you can use whatever. But you got to decide what it is you're trying to accomplish, because there's a lot of databases out there. You could even use Superbase, which I guess is a pretty common one out there that people use.
Mm-hmm.
Because they all have free versions you can use, so it doesn't matter if you're just putting one on your local machine for development. You can use whatever. So, what you could do, again, this is how I did it. I just went to AI and go, look, I want to build an app that does X, Y, and Z. This is my goals for my game or my application. And then I'm trying to figure out what's most common, because I wanted to stay kind of current, right? My goal was to make sure I'm using stuff that is being used in the world, so that I'm gaining experience that's currently useful. So I said, what's the common, the standard for this type of game to use for a database or for microservices? That's how I got Go and Mongo. You just ask it. Say, I'm doing this kind of a 2D scroller. I want to put these kind of features in that might need a database. And what do you think is the standard? And it'll tell you. It'll say, you need, these are the things that most people use. And then you got to kind of read through them, pick the one you want, and go with it. Just commit. It'll probably tell you something like Mongo or SQL, because they're kind of the big ones right now.
Mm-hmm.
But there's
I
a
would
few
use
others.
SQL.
What's that?
I would use, I think, on a large scale in the future, I would pick probably SQL because it's kind of easy to use. I mean, it's just tables, like it's
Yeah,
easy
no.
to see,
If I was
to
gonna
search for.
spend a lot of time in SQL servers,
Mm-hmm.
MSMS or whatever, the SQL Server Management System. It's SSMS anyway. So if I was going to spend a lot of time in that, I would definitely choose SQL, because I feel very comfortable writing SQL queries and doing that kind of stuff.
Your dad was an IT too?
My dad? No, well, he was a manager in of the IT department, but he didn't really do IT.
Oh.
He was just a manager. So he basically hired people like in their computer rooms and stuff like that, and brought people in to do the work. But he kind of went up.
Oh, my bad for asking. My bad. I was
No,
just
don't worry
surprised.
about.
Like everyone as I heard works on AC. Like, oh, that's nice. Like, it's just like
Yeah, I don't know that he was ever. I mean, there were certain things he knew a lot about as far as technical aspects, but he wasn't really a developer or anything like that. But he liked it. But he was always a management. I don't even know how he got started as a manager. I don't know what his lead into to that point was, because he started working for a bank. And he wasn't like, he never worked in the front, so he was never like a teller or a bank manager. So I don't know how he got to where he was. I just knew where he was when he, for the last 15 years. I guess I'd have to ask him. I don't know how he started off at his last job. That's a good question. Maybe I'll have to ask him. But yeah, so everybody's got their own little story to tell. I mean, I started learning my coding trip started as a developer in Access, and Access, when it first came out, only it had its own language. It was called Access Basic, and it was kind of like one of the precursors to VBA, Visual Basic for Applications. And
I think I know what you mean. Oh no.
The only reason I used Access is because at the time I was trying to start a business where I used to build computers for people. So, there was a point in time, but you don't see it as much anymore. Now if you want to buy a computer, you can go to any number of websites, or you can build it. There's only so many big companies, Dell and Microsoft, depending on what you want. But there's places you can go to get a fully configured, already built computer, or you can go to like Tiger Direct and other places and build one. Well, when I first started out, those kind of things didn't exist. They weren't as fleshed out. The internet wasn't as strong. And so there was all kinds of companies trying to get into the computer industry. They were selling computers, but nobody knew what was any good. I mean, there was Dell was just early on getting going, and a number of these other companies were just getting started. But they were a lot of small companies, and some of them be really good deals, but you had to know something about the computers to build them. So what I did is I would take orders from people. They tell me what they wanted, and then I would go to these sites, research them, put together a computer for them, and they would tell me if they wanted it, and they would order it through me. And then I would order the parts, assemble the computer if I needed to, and send it to them. So that's what I was doing. But the thing is, I needed a way to track my customers and who all I was working with. So I said, well, maybe I'll use this Access database. And I built up a little database to do that. And my business was kind of, whatever. It wasn't, I sold a few computers. It was okay, but it wasn't like I was really going anywhere with it. And, but I decided to go get a job that was, pay me more consistently. And the job was data entry using Access. I'm like, I don't want to do data entry. But, well, it's something.
Not again.
It was only a couple of weeks, and I was like, it's data entry. It shouldn't be that hard for a few weeks. I'll be all right. So I went in there. I went to the interview, because they interview even for that. And they said, can you have any problems with data? I said, no, I could do it. And it's like, okay, so you need to put it in the Access database. I'm like, that's fine. They said, can you write the Access database? And I'm like, what? It says, yeah, it doesn't actually exist, but we need.
I did what?
Yeah, well, I was like, what do you mean?
Why?
It's like they said it doesn't exist yet. I mean, we haven't created the Access database for you to put it in.
They needed someone to.
They needed a person to actually write the app that they were going to put the data in. They said it's a pretty simple app. I mean, they didn't need a lot out of it, so they figured, it was a gimme. And I'm like, sure, I can do that. And I had never done that before. But I was like, this shouldn't be that hard. It's not too complex. So yeah, they gave me a couple weeks. I put the app together, and I put their data in, and so now I had some programming knowledge. So my next job, I went in and said I did Access programming, and I got another Access programming job, and I slowly kind of built up. And that one, I lasted for a while, and they were just getting to the point where they were switching over to VBA. Access was being upgraded to using VBA. So now I had so when I swapped over, I said, well, this isn't too big of a change. I figured that out. And so I said, well, I want to do a full-on VB app. So I started, well, I was working for a consulting company, and I go, do you guys have any VB jobs? And they go, well, you haven't really done much. I'm going, yeah, but I've been doing a ton of this VBA, and it's just, I think I have no problem with it. So they said, all right, well, we'll look around for you. And they got me this interview with a company that needed somebody who did VB. So I go into the interview, and it was kind of a lot the same. He says, why should we hire you? You haven't really done this, but I had done a lot of VBA, but I wrote this app in this scenario. I did this, and I've done that. And the guy says, all right, we'll give you a shot. So I got that job, and they gave me a really cool project, which I've always thought to this day is one of my favorite things I've done for another company. It was, they wanted me to build this application in Visual Basic that basically was a assessment. It was a medical company of some kind. They did these medical assessments on clients, and it would create its own questions based on the answers in your previous questions. And basically, it was this self-building, constructing assessment tool. And it took me about 7-8 months to get it going. And I was showing it to people, and they're like, wow, this is really cool. Oh, this works really good. And it built up this assessment thing that was building its own screens and loading up, these questions and responses and allowing them to build up their custom assessments. And it was really pretty slick. And then out of the blue, they changed a bunch of managers and a bunch of heads up. And they go, we're scrapping all of these projects, and mine was one of them. And I'm like, no, it's so cool. And that's where, so I was on that project for about a year. My poor project died. I'm like, no, it wasn't even, they had no reason. They just decided they weren't going to do that no more. And I was like, but now I'm a VB programmer. So yes, I'd been doing that for a while. So I go, my next job, I'm like, I go to Mulvaney Architects, which is over here by me. It's an architectural company that builds a lot of the Costco buildings. And so they hired me as a VB programmer, but they needed me to do like this intranet thing. So I built like this internal intranet that used the website, or used VB. VB is the kind of the ASP.NET background or code part. And so I built that intranet. So now I have web experience. And I did it. It was pretty cool. It came out. I did some dynamic page loads and dynamic pieces that would build themselves onto the page as they needed them. And that came out pretty good. But I didn't want to, I don't know. They were paying me okay. So I said, but I wanted to go back to contracting because I thought it was more lucrative. And so I ended up working for them for a couple of months as a contractor again after they had hired me full time. But they ultimately didn't want contractor. So I said, all right, so I moved on. But I went to go work at my last job, the one I was at for like 15 years or 14 years. And they hired me. They go, oh, you're an Access certified professional. I'm like, yeah. And you got your VB background. And they said, all right, they have this Access app. They wanted me to come in and kind of help them get it up to speed because they were having a lot of problems with it. So I show up. Turns out their Access, I was able to do a lot of that stuff, but it was a dying app. They had overloaded it with more than it could handle. It has object limits, and they were hitting all of the object limits. They had too many queries, too many reports, too many things. And it was just struggling to keep up with them. It would just, you had to keep deleting and purging things. And I said, we need to move this to SQL Server. And they say, yeah, eventually we want to do that. And I go, well, I could do a prototype for you. And how long? Well, I've never done it before, but maybe 3 months I can get you a prototype. And he says, all right, go for it. My manager goes, yeah. So I said, all right. So I start looking into how do I even connect this? How would I do this? I didn't have any clue. It was just like Go right now, where I was just like, what does SQL Server even do for reports? Oh, it's got this SSRS. It's like, how would I get these in there? How would we create this functional? Because they had a lot of code that was managing all these reports in the back end. I mean, it was doing more than just report generating. It was managing their status, and it was pages of code. And I'm like, okay. So I started figuring out how could I make this stuff work in SQL and still run all these reports, and how would we report it? But I got something going where I was able to auto load it, because the thing is, all these reports worked through batch. We had a nightly batch that would run all these SQL processes. And the big problem was they were executing all these access reports and pieces through batch. So I needed to now have it call SQL and have SQL run reports based on the commands from the batch processes. So I was like, it wasn't just running SQL, it had to run SQL reports and put them out based on whatever the commands were that were being sent back. And so I had to get some very basic version going, and I did. I got a report that would run through these batch commands, going through this. They call it it's a rs.exe. It's report services scripting engine, and so I figured out how to write code in that, wrote these commands to do all this stuff, and then function with a call from the nightly batch processes. And my manager said, "Oh, that looks pretty good." Says, "How long would it take to get it finished so that we could actually bring all of our reports in?" I'm like, well, there's quite a bit more functions and features that need to be brought in, and I don't know. I mean, if I'm the only one working on it, it's probably going to take me close to a year at least. And he's like, we'll just have to do it off books, because we were trying to skirt around the company's project system where you had to put things in a queue, and then maybe someday they would come to the top and you'd maybe someday work on it. He wanted this done. So he said, all right, let's see where it goes. Just keep me updated as it goes. So he would check in with me and I would tell him where I was. And a year later, I had this thing fully functional with all the same features that they wanted ported over. I was able to give them a full process on how to bring each and every report. We had over 300 reports that need to be pulled in.
Ooh,
and yeah, it took a while, but I gave him these step-by-step processes that made it easy for all the developers to kind of start, because he started bringing all these other developers in to basically migrate the reports, because they had to go from Access to SSRS, which is a different structure. So they were doing that, and then they had to set up these scripts. So while they were doing that, I was creating this script writer in the web UI for this app, so that the developers didn't even have to write the scripts anymore. All they had to do was go in there, put in all their report information, and it would generate the script for them. So when they were ready to deploy, all they had to do was reformat it in the SSRS, which wasn't too hard usually, but it was getting the script so that it would run in this system of mine, this report controller system. But now that I had it self-generating all the scripts, all they had to do is take those scripts and deploy it with their report, and it would build them in automatically. And so saving them, days and days for each development. So now they were able to do multiple reports in a day or two versus one every few days. And so we ended up getting them all converted, got everything in, and we were able to get off of Access. And then I spent the next 14 years making it better and better and better, upgrading it, adding all kinds of cool new features, and getting my skills up. Problem is, 14 years working in the same languages, those languages become dated when I'm finally let go from the company, because they didn't want to upgrade. I kept saying, hey, let's bring this up to date so we can use the latest this and the latest that. And they're like, yeah, we should do that. We'll put it on the queue, blah, blah, blah. It never happened. And
I wanted to say. By the way, I'm sorry for interrupting. It's 10 p.m. here. I gotta leave soon, so I can stay for like a couple of minutes.
No worries. I'm just.
I like this, bro. I like talking to you. So it's the first time talking to you.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Talk.
No worries. I'm just, I'm just giving you the background. So anyway, that's where I'm at. My language is as good as I was at them. Apparently, nobody wants them anymore. Except SQL. That's the only thing people actually seem to be. Oh, you like SQL, or you do SQL? Yeah. Okay. What about these languages? Well, not so much. But it's like, oh, that's too bad. All right. Well, but now I'm learning newer stuff, and hopefully something will change. If not, I want to get this game done. I feel like this game could be real. I mean, like it could actually be something that could produce some income. I don't.
Game.
Yeah, like an actual real life thing somebody actually wants, and it'd be cool to have my own game on my phone, and I can just load it up and go, hey, I can play my own game.
Yeah, this is my game. Why
I created this, show it to people, and they'll be like, ooh, that's cool. Just like the storage devices I created, right? All the cases. I don't know if you've ever looked at the Mage Cage, the product I developed. It's for people who collect miniatures and that kind of thing, like D&D minis, Warhammer, all that kind of stuff. And if you've ever played any of those kind of games with the minis, that's what these cases were for. They're an expandable, transportable display case. And I developed those, and it's just cool to see them out there in the world. I'll go to a game store and see people every now and then with my cases, because I sold like, I don't know, fit around 20,000 of these cases, and it's just cool.
I've seen the case. I've seen the case. I've seen the case. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I kind of forgot like what case. Oh, I know the case for the minis.
Yeah,
As you said, I saw the case on the. I mean, not in real life, but like
on the
I've seen a
website.
case selling it. Like it's your product.
Yeah, yeah, and it's cool to go places. Like
Product.
I go to there's a convention down in Texas called ReaperCon. It's the company Reaper is a company who makes a bunch of miniatures, and I go down there and sell them. And by the end of the convention, I see my cases like all over. They're like on everybody's table because I was the only storage device seller. And they'd come, oh, these are really cool, and they'd buy them, and they start putting their minis in there, and their paints in there, and doing whatever else, and they'd be having them out on all the tables. It was pretty cool. By day 3, walking around, all the cases on like, 40% of the tables would have some number of my cases. Some people with 10 of them, some with 4, some with just a couple. But it was still pretty neat to see. And some of them
It's
coming
actually
with
nice.
cases that they brought from previous years because they bought them from me from previous years. So there's the new
Who's the
people.
seller?
There's new people, and then there's the people who are just still using my cases. So it's always fun.
You say something about the like playing my own game. I remember a joke, not a joke, like a real time maybe thing. You know when on a bus or train and you play a game and someone asks you, "What do you play?" "I'm playing my game, boy," and he shows his game and stuff. And if you want to play my game, blah blah blah, and they talk to each other, like the discussion between the person, like, "What do you play?" Like, "I play my own game," and they, "Oh, your own game? Like, how did you make it?" I mean, I think I'm retarded. I didn't explain myself like correctly enough. Like the joke was just like, "What do you play?" "Oh, my own game."
Yeah,
I mean, that's surprising people. Like, "Oh, your own game."
yeah,
Okay,
it's
can I
a
have a
cool. It's
shot?
like a
Can I have
brag. It's like a
a look?
bragging right thing. Yeah, I wrote this. They'll go, hey, that game looks cool. What is it? It's mine. I wrote it. And they'll be like,
Yeah, it's
oh,
fine.
that's cool, man. And then
I never
just
see someone play his own games.
yeah, and if it's a good enough game, that's the thing, right? If you can sell it by letting
Yeah.
people see it, they go, hey, let me check that out. And they'll download it. You can show them all the cool features, and that's kind of where I want to get. And I think, like I said, in the next few months, I expect to be having a lot more UI stuff and a lot more parts running. Maybe even having the full simulator, and maybe a little bit of what do you call it, the Unity stuff going, and
Hmm.
it's going to be fun to start watching all of the back end stuff I've been doing taking place on the front end because that's where it really shows itself, right? So, yeah, it's
So it's Unity for graphics. I think no. Yeah,
yeah.
you said
The
Unity for
plan is
graphics.
Unity on the Android. That's what I'm going to do. And
Oh.
if I ever port it to PC app, an actual PC application, I'll probably use Unity for that too. But right now, my site here is just React. It's just a React website. But
Yeah.
there'll be some
Reacting.
functionality with the React. I don't know. React will be able to do things, or the website will be able to do things that the Android app can't, simply because the interface for the Android app might not support certain things very well. But I want the game part and the basic management will all be part of Android, which is the bulk of what the game will be. But some things like maybe if I do decide to enable the Play Creator for people's general use, that'll probably stay on either a PC or a website functionality because I don't think there's a good interface for setting that stuff up in on a phone. It's just too small. There's not enough space to do that effectively, and so I don't know if I'll put that there. But other places, I mean, that might be the only thing that you don't have on the phone that you might have. But hey, you're going to get all the cool graphics on the phone. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
be able to do all the cool graphics. I keep saying it like it exists, but I have no idea how I'm going to do any of that. So that's all new to me. So I'll be pulling that all in, and me and the AIs are going to get real friendly. It's like, all right, how do I do this thing and that thing, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, they're as helpful with graphics stuff as they are with the back end stuff.
I think it's going to be a good project, a good game. I support you on this. I like the way you made the game. Like, I like everything about the coding. I like to see the structure and the services working together like that and folded. Kind of, motivating me, like seeing people working and stuff. It is making me okay. I want to work too. I want to make that too. I want to. I think yeah, it motivates me.
Oh yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
it motivates me too to see things come together and
yeah,
just start
motivates me.
functioning, and I can call it and say, "Oh, cool, man! I type in this endpoint and this piece comes back." I'm like, "Oh, this is working so cool." And it's like do another one, but then it does get. That's why I'm saying this is where AI comes in helpful a lot, because then when I need to create a new service that does something different, there's a lot of parts that are almost the same where you set up the same structure. So I'll tell AI, it's like it ends up being like probably 1,000 lines of code just to build the full service again, because I have to build all the gRPC parts, all of the main store, blah blah blah, and then I have to build all the components that are specific to that service. I can go to AI and go, look, I want to make another service that's going to do XYZ, and I want it to be modeled after these other services, so that it's making all the same calls, same processes. It does it the same way. And it goes, okay, and then it'll come back a minute later and go, all right, these are the pages, this is what you need, using the same model and structure as these other services that you asked for, and it'll set me up. And in a half hour, I've got a whole nother service, at least with the basics. And then I can start adding in all my custom code, which is the stuff that I want to do, the custom code. I don't want to mess with those setup files and setup parts, because that just takes forever. And it's like, you want to get to the meat. It's kind of like if you ever took geometry and they always taught you all these proofs, and there's like 10 lines at the top and there's 10 lines at the bottom, and they're the same all the time. But there's this line in the middle. That's the piece you need to study to get your grades. You need to know the middle part of the proof, but all these other lines are just setup. You have to get all that in there, and if you don't have those other lines, you don't get the grade. So you got to memorize the worthless lines, and then and know the middle part, how to function, what kind of middle piece of the proof. Yeah. This is why I hated geometry. I thought it was a stupid thing. It's like, why are we doing all these stupid lines? Why not just give you the part that matters? What is the deal with proofs? I don't understand them. I still to this day think geometry is a stupid math. I understand the process of the premise of what you're learning, the angles and all of the things you do in geometry. I thought it was stupid in the way it implemented itself, or the way the proofs had to be built. I think that's just like it's kind of like saying you want to know what x times y equals z, right? But in a proof language, it'd be like a paragraph to explain what x is, and a paragraph to explain what y is, and a paragraph to explain what you're trying to get with z. And then you go back and do all this other math. I'm like, but I don't need that stuff. These are just numbers. I just need to know what x, y, and z are. I don't need those stuff. It's like, I don't need a paragraph of nonsense. So yeah, that's kind of what I thought of it. It was just a long-winded math, and I thought it was dumb in that process.
Yeah, there is not. It's all good. Yeah, as I said, I support on this. It's a good. I mean, in my opinion, it's a great job.
Oh, thanks.
I think the game is going to turn into a great game. Yeah. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for looking at my game and just kind of giving an opinion about the code and stuff. Like, it's kind of structured. I work from just one file, one header. So it's easy for me to just call functions, put instructions in them, and just make that work. Yeah, thank you again for coming, and yeah.
Yeah, no problem, man. You take it easy. You have a good one. I'm sure we'll talk more, if nothing else, through chat. You have a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
So, here's a question. I don't know how to leave chat. Oh, the hang up button. There it is. There it goes. Oh, well, sometimes. Okay, back to it. So it's a 12:09. So the current task of the moment. Yeah, I got it. Thanks. I knew it was a hang up button. I'm looking everywhere except the big button on the bottom that looks like a hang up the phone button. Later, John. It's like sometimes you do that. A person will be working on something and they're staring right at the answer and it's not there. All right, so last thing I needed to do. I'm trying to work, as you can see on my login screen. I was having issues with the backer codes. I'm setting up this system of backer codes. Okay, so whenever I have backers for my application, I expect that someday I'll have 1 or 2 or 3. I'm going to create these backer codes for people who are supporting my stream and my attempt to get this app made. And this backer code will allow people to basically log into the game on the website at first, and hopefully eventually they can get the APK and log in. And they'll be able to play with the game as I'm building it, putting out new stuff. And depending on what the backer the backer support is, they'll get lengths of time, basically, anywhere from 30 days to a year or whatever they're doing. And then they'll be able to have all access to it until I launch, all the way through those days. So I'm hoping to be able to, there'll be times when I don't have anything new for a while. But I'm hoping to get to a point where I'm no longer doing massive structural updates. Like right now, I've done a ton of services, new stuff, lots of structural stuff. And it's caused me to not have anything new functionally for the UI. So I'm not making any changes that are affecting the UI yet. Except for right now, they broke with the UI. So I'm plugging all the stuff I already had back in, getting it up to date so that everything works. And then once I have that, I'll check all this code in. I will try to redeploy it again up to all of my various test and prod environments. And then I can start working again towards working on new stuff, which is what my goal is. So all of the new infrastructure I put in the last several weeks is now trying to get itself back to a state of plugged in and working. So that's a little bit. Now you see below here that I have a Facebook, Apple, Google, Twitch. None of those work yet. I did set up, I think, my Facebook and Google API keys. I have not done that for Twitch or Apple as far as logins go, but ultimately I want to be able to make those logins function as well, so people can authenticate using whatever process they want and create their account. That is the end goal. I will have to decide, how exactly I want to get all that set up, and I don't know fully what I can and can't do. I want to link those, if nothing else, so that maybe if you do decide to connect all your accounts, you're able to get some kind of perk or benefit from doing so. So you don't have to use them all, but if you link them all, better for you, right? Anyway, and I'm not even sure how it looks like with Watcher of Realms. You link them all, but what is the link? Is it just, what is the link? What is it? What are you getting out of linking? Oh, well, I guess it's just the way. I don't even, because you don't even have to log in. Once you've installed Watcher of Realms, you rarely have to actually log in. So, and there's some games like that. Marvel Snap's the same way. Once you've logged in, you don't really, I don't think I ever have to log in anymore. Now, if you reconnect, you have to log in. But really all it is connect via Google or Facebook or whatever. And then you're good to go. Alexa, turn on Firestorm. I don't know. According to my thermostat thing outside, it's 65 degrees. It's way warmer than they said it was going to be. They said it was only going to, Alexa said it was going to be like, I don't know, 50 something today. So it's actually way warmer. And it's not raining like they said it would. My wife kind of wanted to go play pickleball again this afternoon. We'll see. All right. Let's go see what I've got here. I think I've implemented more of what this said. I started adding some unit testing to one of the functions. I want to add more. Honestly, I'm kind of handing that process over to the AI. Really, not the whole thing, but I'm having it build the infrastructure, and it takes forever. So I'll say something like, I need unit testing on this service. Can you build me the infrastructure to do that automated unit testing? So it goes through and it just starts building up all this code. And meanwhile, I go work on other stuff. I mean, I'll work on other things in the app, but I won't be like say if I'm not working in the player's object, I'll say, hey, I need automated unit testing for the player's function. And it won't build the whole thing, but it'll build all the basic parts for you. And then it'll say, you need to add tests for the rest of it. Okay, and then you can come back to the unit, go to, I need unit testing for this, unit testing for that. You can call for the individual parts, but you're just trying to set up that. All right, where was I? Let's go see what happens when I click this. I put in my new code. That was, I probably should stop the mg auth. And then do a go build. No, go build up. Got an error. Where is this going to take me? Store.go. Pocket variants. Oh, pocket variants. Okay, so what do they call them? Well, I call them, they're not pocket variants. It's a Marvel Snap thing. I gotta notice is pocket variants have taken over. They're variants where like their primary color is blended into the background, so it kind of makes them look like they're like negatives, except for they're colored. I mean, they're different for sure. I don't know what that's going to look like when they start adding backgrounds to them, though. Oh, I wonder if the background is truly part of it. Oh, that might be interesting. Like if you have these, like right now, it's just like if it's a yellow, it's a yellow. If it's red, it's a red. And you got all the red is the same, including the background. But if that is truly like a negative, any color you put in there is going to take away. So if you put in one of the weird backgrounds, cosmic, it'll just show the characters parts that aren't that background and everything else is cosmic. That might be kind of interesting looking. Have some weird looking characters for sure. All right. If he does say so. Alternatively, a cleaner approach would be to use methods from the embedded Mongo store. I don't care. I thought I said a clever approach. I was going to say, if you do say so yourself. The problem is that client. I mean, what is it? Is backer code in use? Is backer code back packer code in you. Dang it! I can't. My brain is like, why are you not separating those words? Does it get rid of the problem? Because that's really all I care about. It's pretty small potatoes, that particular function. All right, we're good. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna stop this because I have a thought, and then go to the backers documents because I really just want to delete all these. Okay, see what happens if I do that. And I have no users. Correct. Nope, I'm not correct. Now we should have nobody. Okay, that's the goal. And then if everything worked correctly, we should now have everything loaded again. Connections. Front end is getting a register error. Printing register and user. Interestingly enough, that didn't cause any issues. What about gateway? Gateway got all kinds of gobbledygook. See what it says. Error, browsing, blah, 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 async, handle submit, blah, 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 cannot read, blah, 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 cannot read properly undefined symbol, an X unhandled error. The actual problem is probably this guy. Oops. See data. Let's see, where is that? See data. See data / backer code. Backers. .json is not getting loaded when ng off starts. I'm pretty sure was Original. Currently. So, all right. So part of what I have for almost all my seed data is when a service that's holding the seed data loads, it's supposed to put this stuff. It's supposed to auto load my seed data, so it's available to whatever I'm running. Really? Common dbbackers.go? Do I have a common function? Huh. Oh, that's weird. Why is backers.go being called? All right. What does this do? Fail to parse backers seed data. Backers. Create index. Fail to drop backers collection. I had a whole process in mind for how backer codes were going to work, and I've totally forgotten it. I'm sure I wrote it down somewhere. Oh, sorry. Yes. Hey, Muhammad, I am. You're making a game using Golang. Yes. Well, yes. Golang is my microservices backend architecture. This is where all of my data processing is going to take place, my multi-user interactions. So basically, yes, everything's coming from Golang. Now, the UI is not going to be in Go. It's going to be whatever engine I'm creating. So if I'm using Unity, it'll probably be C#. The React portion, like you see here on my bottom half of my page here, is that's all written in React. That's a website that I'm working on to do the basic parts of this game, getting everything going. And then once I get all of my backend kind of flowing a little bit, get all of my parts being pulled, that's when I'll go start working on the Unity front end on Android to start creating the actual graphical interface to the game that can be ran on a phone. So yeah, it's been quite the thing. It's been fun generating the all these microservices. I've got 10 microservices right now, all going through a gRPC gateway service, and for the most part, things work. I have a lot of parts though that I've integrated or implemented that I haven't even tested yet, because I've got way more back-end code than I've got front-end UI to support it, to even attempt to do that. It's because the last few weeks I've just been building up the back-end architecture. So now I'm back in the front and trying to attach all those parts. So I'll probably be working on the front-end UI for some time now as I start plugging in my back-end architecture. And then I'll probably go back and forth, because I'll probably find some things on my back end aren't functioning correctly. So I have to tweak it, make it work, and then go back to the front end, do some more stuff. So I'll be going back and forth a lot more. Right now, the last few weeks have been a massive, massive amount of forward movement as far as services being created. It's been fun. I'm using a Mongo database as my my data store, and then I also have several Docker environments set up. So I have a test and a prod. The prod environment is actually going to have a public-facing URI that you can actually go to once I have my backer stuff. That's what I'm working on now, is get my backer login, so anybody who backs me can actually go on, log in, and play with it as it's being developed. I mean, obviously they're only going to have what's on the prod environment while I'm building on things, but as I release new parts, new stuff will become available. So yeah, it's been quite the thing, especially since starting in December. I didn't even know what Go was. I was looking for like what are the most common architectures for developing a game on Android, and it seemed like it was Java or Go for backend services, microservices, for the most popular, and especially for the games that I was like interested in kind of trying to mimic. I don't know. I don't want to say copy because my game is totally unlike any of the games I'm trying to do, but still I liked the way they did it. And it said Go, and I'm like, okay, cool. What's Go? What is that? It's like it had to explain to me what Go was and how it was. I'm like, oh, so it's just another syntax. It's a different language. So then I started working with, I want to do microservices. What's the best way to do that? It's like I started watching all these YouTube videos of guys putting it together. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm kind of getting an idea. And then started working with the AIs and moving forward, starting to learn all this stuff. But right now I have an issue with my backers because they're not loading correctly. Okay, so you need to modify the main Go to call sync backers. Why? Do my backers .go. This one. I never did any other projects. This is the only. I didn't know what Go was, but now I'm getting pretty familiar with it. This is the project I built with Go. I've never worked in any other application with Go. Again, I wouldn't call myself an expert in Go, but I know I'm a lot more familiar with it and how it's structured and how it sets up stuff because I've been working on it now for 3 months. And it's only 3 months, so, you know, how good can I be, right? Learning any language in 3 months, that's you can only know so much. But with the help of AI, I've got a lot of stuff built. But I've also have 20 years of development experience, right? So as a software developer, I understand all the development concepts, how code should be assembled, what's the, a good, clean way to write stuff, the overall information of how to build a good app. Now, I had to learn what Go standards exist, so I work with AI to kind of come up with that. I let AI do a lot of the syntactical typing, but now I'm starting to find that I fix a lot of the errors on my own because I'm understanding how it's assembled now and how things work. But I probably would struggle if somebody said, go write a Go method that does blah, 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 blah. I'd probably struggle to do it. I mean, I could probably fiddle through depending on how complex it was. But I don't think, for my purposes, I'm getting pretty good. Somebody could give me a broken Go code and say, what's wrong with this? And I'd probably figure it out way faster than actually writing it. So I'm at that point where I could be a pretty good debugger, but maybe not so much a creator on my own. AI is helping me out by creating the infrastructures, and then I go through it and figure out what's wrong with it when it writes it, because it does write a lot of bad code. But I'm learning how to tell the difference between what it's doing and what needs to be done. And so I've written, apparently with the help of AI, I've done like 40,000 lines of code since I started this project 100 days ago. Well, it's actually been more than that, but I've only worked on it 100 days in the time since I started, because I think it's probably been closer to maybe 130, 140 days. So there's a number of days I haven't worked on it, but we're getting up to that 6 month. Let's see. Technically, since I started this project, the end of this month is 6 months, so 180 days. But I've only worked on it 100 days, almost 100 days. And I do count days in that count that I don't actually stream. So even though my stream might have 70 streams and I'm at 98, it's because there's a lot of those days where I just worked on it offline. I was doing other stuff, trying to get things fixed. So I'm not doing the same thing every day. But AI makes you go fast, man. You can learn it, man. You can figure it out. I've learned a lot of Go. I just got to figure out now why my backers.go. So backers.go and initialize backers. So both of them have a function called initialize backers. Oh, no, that one is initialize backers. Huh. Hmm. Do I want to use this? I feel like I should either use it or get rid of it. So, fail to drop. Okay, so what does the sync backers do? That one's over here. Anyway, so sync backers looks like it's doing the same thing. So why do I have it twice? That's not too good. Let's go over here and load that back up. See what we got. All right. Initialize backers. JSON backers, unmarshal collection backers. Same, similar. This one's going to create some indexes. Insert new backers with expiration dates. Insert backers. I'll go right. Validity days. Geez, it's almost, these are pretty much the same function. Why do we have both? Why do I have both? How did I end up getting two? So, yeah. Modify the main.go file to call sync backers during initialization. So where is initialize backers being called? Because is it being called also? No. Oh wait, there it is. Database.go. Wait a minute, I have a backers.go? Oh, that's database. Oh, database.go is calling this. What? Oh. So we do need both. Huh. Okay. Well, huh. So when the database initializes, I've got sync backers. I didn't even know I did it this way. This is the smart model. I don't know what you mean by the smart model generator. You're talking about chat, GPT? Not all of it, but yeah, a lot of it. Or it generated based on my requests. So I started off with a single service, right? So I said I wanted a service that's set up in a standard. But I needed to go through a lot of it and rewrite a lot of parts of it. And we went back and forth on it for a couple of days, getting that code in there with my understanding of how code should be written. And then I came up with a functional thing. And then I go, well, I want this to, it looks like the standard, like I started creating it by myself without AI. The first 3 weeks, I barely used AI at all because I didn't know enough about AI. I'm only now after the last 3 months of using AI, becoming an expert because I've been using it a lot, learning how to ask it questions, how to give it guidance to make me get things done. But it would give me like the basis of code, right? So I went to YouTube, spent a lot of time watching a few guys doing some services. So I started copying and applying it to my stuff and attaching. But creating a microservice in Go, I'm telling you, has a lot of parts, especially if you're going to do a standardized setup where you have a main, a gRPC controller, you've got services, a store, a types, and those are all like standard files that you will have in most Go services or microservices, from my understanding. But then that's like that. What is that? 5 files? Yeah, it's 5 files of just basic standard files that you would use in most Go services if you're going to talk to a database, because like that's where the store talks to the database, the types handles your structs and your object setups, and then you have to create like a common file if you're going to have multiple services. You don't have to, but it's a good place to keep like things that all your services need to reference. And then you need to have a gateway. That's where I wanted to have a gateway. You don't have to have a gateway, but it does make it really nice to centralize your service processing. So you create a gRPC gateway. That's what I went with, gRPC. There's other kinds of gateways too, I guess. I don't know the other ones, but heck, I didn't know gRPC. I just picked it based on descriptions and what it told me was a good way to go. So I built a gRPC gateway and I connected all the endpoints and set up all the files. And then again, once my files start getting too big, I refactor them into smaller files. I'll turn them up. I'll take parts out and separate them just so that there's less code in one object. So you can see how big these 2 files are, database.go and my store.go. That's not too bad. So this is reasonably sized. It's not a bad page. But I have some that are pages and pages and that need to be broken up, because you want clean code. You don't want a single file holding 1,000 things, because it's just too hard to track. I think once you're over, what is this? How many lines of code is this one? That one's 260 lines of code, 259. And this one over here is pretty close to the same, 245. That to me is like kind of the sweet spot. You don't want to get too much bigger than that. You can go to 3, 4, 5. I have 1 or 2 that are closing in on 1,000 lines. And to me, that's starting to get kind of clunky. Usually you can group objects off and put them over. One thing I noticed about Go is your files are not part of your app. It's like you have classes in C#. You have all these classes, and that kind of makes the class part of your app. I mean, when I say not part of your app, I mean the functional parts. Nothing references the file names, right? So you're only working with the functions with their parts. So whether you put them in different classes or different files doesn't really matter. You're just doing it for sorting and organization so your code looks good. So I do like that. So it just keeps things clean and organized, allows you to break it up. And then when you want to work on something, you can go to the file name that handles those objects. It has those functions and methods that you need to do that one thing. And that's the way I've always coded. It's the kind of thing that not everybody thinks of, though, right? So it's like if you haven't been a developer for a long time, you're just like, you put it all in one file. You can, but it's going to become a problem, I think, in time. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm getting a headache. Maybe I've been drinking too. I haven't been drinking enough or something. I think what I need to do, that's what I'm going to do. Hold on. I have to go get my drink from upstairs. I'll be right back. So at the gym today, I like to box every now and then, just punching bag. And I did 6 rounds, which is not a ton, but it's a very intense exercise, right? It's a lot of explosive power. You punch in the bag, because I do hit it with some force. I got 1,200 punches in 6 rounds. That's according to my punch count on my watch, which I think is quite a bit. I'm actually surprised, but needless to say, I was pretty tired. So what was that, 200 punches a round? And so yeah, and then I came home and I've been kind of exhausted all day. I need to somehow regenerate. So I'm gonna throw a ghost in here. A lot of people don't like these, they say, but this one is sour pink lemonade. I don't know if I like it that much either, but I usually like Ghosts quite a bit. They're really good when I mix them with my protein drink, which is Gatorade and protein. That's really all it is, Gatorade and protein. And water, of course. So, oh, just drinking that made me feel better. I don't know, I was probably dehydrating. Okay, so I guess we're going to keep both of these, because one goes on database initialization. I'm not sure why I need both, but so we're going to go to sync backers, which is this one. There it is. And they're calling it from the main. Is that good? I feel like that, is that the standard place to load? For consistency. Pick book at my, is it players? Or is it game plan? I don't remember. Players, game plan, nope. Playbook? Yeah, see data. At my, let's just go look. I don't need it to do this. Am I loading this in the main? Create Mongo database. I didn't think so. Now I don't want main.go loading crap. I felt like that was the wrong place for that. Playbook -seed. I don't know. Playbook-seed doesn't have anything in it yet. That's a terrible example, Ken. It's not playbook seed. Playbook seed is going to have stuff eventually, but play types is the only thing that has stuff right now. Play types -seed. Okay, so who's calling this? It's the store method. And it's initialize. Okay. For consistency. And where does play types get called? Wait. Initialize load play types from embed. Let's load the backers in the same manner and as the playbook. See playbook? Yeah. As the playbook service loads the play types -c. This way it can be easier to identify where all seed data is loaded. There's like, this is one of the things about AI. You got to stay on top of it. So you got to start, I think this day and age with AI, and AI is going to get smarter and smarter and smarter and be able to do more and more and more. But I think ultimately, a developer's job is not going to go away. I don't think AI is going to be good enough to generate entire complex applications. And I say complex is like when you have 5, 10 microservice backends with front ends that have to call and manipulate those backends, and all with their own complex level of navigation and setup. And I think AI is great for small apps, got a couple of pages, you do some basic stuff. I think it'll be able to do a lot of that by itself. Eventually, maybe a little bit more complex. But apps on their own in their current state, if you're doing something big, AI is not going to do that. Not by itself. But if you look at AI, I look at AI, and I've said this multiple times, and I'll probably say it many times in the future. AI is the junior developer. But he is like that straight A student, top of his class developer who came out of college knowing syntax and functions. He had eidetic memory. He's the developer with eidetic memory. He knows all the functions, all the methods, and he types amazing. He never makes syntax errors, never types wrong. Because he doesn't. I've never seen a syntax error out of code. I do see other problems that it gives, a lot of other things. It struggles, though, at the same level with experience. And I don't know if AI will ever gain the knowledge and experience it needs to be a true senior developer. He's like the guy who's got all of the book knowledge, but none of the practical understanding. And that's partly because I don't think it can conceive the ultimate process, what you're trying to accomplish. And it can't, because it can't, it doesn't have, one thing we haven't been able to give any kind of AI is imagination. It throws together what it knows, and this is why a lot of times image generations suffer, because they can't build images they can't conceive from something they've done before. Coming up with something that doesn't exist, I mean, to some extent humans do it too, but they do it from a much more vast set of knowledge of experience that AI can just not match, because we have real world, we visualize things that maybe have never been photographed before, never been imaged before, but our brains will take that as knowledge source and be able to combine it with other things. So this is like the old AI trying to get it to give you a quarter glass of wine. It can't. It always gives you a half glass of wine or a full glass of wine, because it doesn't have a knowledge base that says, well, this is what a quarter glass of wine looks like. Somebody needs to load it. But then what if you say something like 75% full or any of these other things? It can't do the math and generate a visual representation of various amounts of wine in a glass, because it doesn't know how to interpolate that from its own knowledge. So humans are always going to be able to build things that an AI can't do, as long as that becomes a hindrance. And maybe someday it won't be, but I still think it's not going to be able to generate. You might give it a concept and it might come up with something kind of sort of, but will it be a fully fleshed out app? No, you're going to still have to get in there and tell it, I need this piece and I need that piece. And this is where AI starts to struggle. If it doesn't get it right on the first try, like if its first ball of info doesn't do everything you want it to, that may be a functional ball of info, but now you're saying, okay, I need you to glue in this piece, and this piece, and I need you to refactor these parts so that they function with those parts. Now AI is going to start struggling. It's going to start growing outside of its sphere of knowledge, and it has trouble like refactoring. I've had to do a lot of work to get it to refactor things correctly, because it'll do bits and parts and suggestions, and it can't Gronk doing the whole thing or even stay on top of that. Maybe it's just a vast lack of data knowledge. If you figure a lot of these things can only take in so much data, right? They're only allowed to take in 10,000 lines of code or 10,000 pieces of information, and then they struggle beyond that. So if you're working with a whole lot of stuff, it will lose track. One of the things I've noticed that AI is doing when it looks at my code, it always calls my stuff your extensive application. And I don't have, this is 40,000 lines of code, but it is not extensive. I mean, it's bigger, it's big, but it's not, I mean, a real game, a really good, solidly built game that does back end stuff, front end stuff, probably talking 1 million lines of code. And I'm not even, that's not even, I'm away from that. When I'm done, I'll probably be, right now, I could picture this app having maybe a couple 100,000 lines of code, maybe 500. I don't know if it'll be that big. I don't know how many lines of code the Unity engine stuff is going to take up. But ultimately, yeah, we're talking about a lot of code. My back end will probably end up having double what it has now, so at least 80 to 100,000 lines of code. And my front ends are going to take up a lot of lines of code too. So. Anyway, I think AI is great. It's a great tool, but you're kind of like going to be his lead. You're sitting over his shoulder going, no, well, you need to fix that. And, you know, that's not going to work because of this. And it'll just restructure it. And because he types 500 words a minute, you can just keep fixing stuff. And it also saves you the problem of being a 60 word a minute typist. This banana does not want to open. All right, so let's go back to my store.go. We're going to implement a new process for my backers. I'm going to take this out. And it's, oops, I'm in the wrong thing. Let's go up to the right thing. Oh, still wrong. Still wrong. You're in the wrong database, or the wrong service. This one? Yes, that's the one. All right. Store. All right. We got to add initialized backers, which I think is going to get rid of sync backers. So I have a feeling sync backers it's not going to be used anymore, but we're not going to totally get rid of it just yet. I'm just moving it over here to go with initialized backers. For consistency, I like the idea of this being the... Now, I don't know if this is going to bump heads with my common folder, though. It's another thing. Because common is a shared object, and so it's in everybody's. Do I have a store object? Hot store. How do I not have store? Wow, why is that way down there? This is going to get moved. This should be at the top. We'll put it here. backer call, backer loaded. So it's not getting rid of any of my old stuff, but I don't know if it shouldn't be. I feel like it should be. And then we have a new store. I always like my new store and everything to be at the top. I don't know why. It's just like, it's just so that you can find things in the same order. Like it's one of those first things that just gets created. You don't. Everything else is like an extension, because every one of my classes has new store, store object, new store, declaration of the store methods. It's just good to have it at the top, easy to follow. I'll know, and then after that, everything that you referenced shows up. Existing initialization code. We're gonna go here. I don't know. Did that even change that? That looks the same. I don't even think that changed anything. It didn't. Interesting. So let's see. The initialization. Nope. Let's retract to the back initialization code store code to match the consistent pattern. All right. So it didn't really do anything with that. Same code, although it made it look like it did. It did not. Then we got initialized backers, which honestly, I think I can get rid of this one. I think this one's going to go away. I don't think initialized backers is in here. Initial. Jeez. And then. Jeez, where's the. Oh, what the heck? Initial backers. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, so we're just going to take this whole initialized backers method. We'll put it on top of the sync backers. And then we got load backers from embed, which is this guy, which is fine. It's basically everything that the other one is. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's going to be exactly the same. Oh, there is a sync backers. Now deprecate the old sync backers. So or make it call initialize. Or why would I do that? Deprecate it or use it? It's like, I don't want to use it. Why would I make? Existing validate functions. Wait, what happened? I didn't load backers from embed. Why did it only partially compress? That's weird. Something weird about that. All right, well, I don't know. That was weird. It's kind of funny, this doesn't like collapse correctly. Why is that? I have a feeling something's not right with that. I don't know if I copied something wrong, or there's something wrong with that. Existing validation function, validate backer code. All right, so let's use a case insensitive collation. Backers, find one. Backer code. No backer found with code, blah. I do note that it gives you a lot of search functions. Like sometimes you'll ask for a certain feature and it'll say, okay, well then create these. And I'm like, I don't need that. I mean, I understand the need for some searching. It's like it gave me one, search for user by backer code. I don't need that. I don't even use the backer codes. The backer codes are just about allowing access to the application, and it really only functions for that purpose. So I'm not going to be looking people up by their backer code. I have a functionality that's going to handle all that. Okay, so now update the main.go. Wait, what? Mm-hmm. 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 Rest of your code. Load URI. Create store. Use store auth users, auth counters. Huh. I did not realize that we were even changing that. Interesting. Yeah. I'm going to change this to auth users, and this will change to auth counters, and okay, auth users, auth counters. Store error, close, defer. Doing a defer close here. Then initialize backers. I'm going to initialize our backers. Guess here, huh? Followed by register service, or create service. Still got one little tiny bug. What's the problem, little tiny bug? Rest of my code. What is rest of my code? Why are we getting a... Huh. I don't know what the rest of my code is, because at this point there's only one line of code. It's like, am I doing new service just without the auth service? This is the only rest of my code. It's auth store, value and argument to new service store. Bananas taste ripe. I mean, not ripe, but raw. You know, like they're not fully ripe. Like it was pulled from the tree too soon. The banana trees, right? Are plants. Are the bananas come from plants or trees? I mean, they do come in big bundles. Do they? Does a tree support those giant bundles? Alexa, do bananas come from plants or trees?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, bananas come from banana plants, which are not trees.
Plants. Guess that makes sense. Because they'd have to be pretty strong trees, huh? And plus, if your bananas fall, they're toast. They squish. You just got bruised bananas. You can't pick them up off the ground because they're just toast. Because if they're that ripe, I guess if they're that ripe, you're probably supposed to pull them before then, huh? Are they banana tree plants like the ant? Ant can't move a banana tree plant. It's actually a rubber tree plant, but ant can't move a rubber tree. It's a rubber tree plant, not a banana tree plant. An ant can't move a banana tree plant either, so that's reasonable. Ant can't move banana tree plants. Yeah. High hopes, they got high hopes. I'm testing to see if anybody's actually watching. See if there's anybody actually out there. Hello, 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 hello. I don't want an why does it give me alternative approach? If you still get errors, hopefully I won't still get errors. Oh, maybe I will still get errors. Did I not declare it correctly? Let's try this. Some extra logging, but we're still getting a store error issue here. Let's see what Copilot versus it doesn't like as auth store value, so it's like the wrong type of object. Oh. Oh, okay. I think I see what the problem is. I think the problem is we don't have something initialized correctly. So I think that just means I have to go here and dump this thing. Now what do we got? Now are we good? Yeah, like stop crying. Okay, I think we're good. A lot of errors here. Let's see, let's go to AMG auth, close that one up too. Go build. All right. Go run dot. And we are off. Successfully loaded backer data. Okay. So do we now have backer data in here now? Backers, we're back. Backers, we're back. All right, now we can go back to the gateway. Go run dot. And then we can go try this again. Yay! Register. Register request completed. Cannot read. Oops, we got partial success. Something went right. This looks like it's calling our facility received. Register request completed. Gateway seems to be happy about this. No errors. So whatever happened, but we still got an undefined. Localhost doesn't like it. So let's go see what I actually got in the front end. Fine. Unhandled error. Still says error though. But it says it worked. Something worked. So we got this is my error catch. But we're not getting here, because if we were getting here, I would have debug stopped here. So we're getting to here or here. All right, so we're going to stop this. And now we're going to attempt to run it again. Then, just to make sure, we're going to go back over here. We're going to go to my database. We'll go to my users. There it is, users, document. I'm going to dump this. I'm going to go back up. I think backers are fine. Counters probably are a little distracted. Just remove that for now. And then I don't think I need to I should not have to get rid of this. Oh, we are loading them now. Yay! Oh, and it worked too. Nice. Okay. This one's going to go out until the year 2028. So you have 999 days. You have to. That's only 2028? Really? I guess that's what, 3 years. I guess it's not even 3 years. So I guess 2028. Huh. I kind of thought I was giving them like lots of time, but I guess it's not as much. It's not as much as I thought. If that even exists. I mean, it exists for alpha. But whatever backer code file I decide to deploy later, it's going to be blank when I actually deploy, because I got to create one for the environments. So prod will just have a garbage one. Ow. Oh, I'm so sore. Oh, man. It's getting kind of windy. I don't know how good that is for pickleball. You could see all the pollen flying around out there. Big old chunks of it. All right, let's try this again. I'll go create account. right, let's see what this does. We're gonna go here. I expect to see. Oh, it should catch on either one, on one of these. Oh, this is login user. Oh, that's why, because I didn't catch it on register user. All right, so let's go here, here, and... Ooh, dude, you're up late. Here it's only 1:20 p.m. So you're like 14 hours ahead of me. Man. Yeah, you got a big head start, man. Are you a remote worker? Like you're working for like you're like working in India for the US or something, or you have to work for another country time zone? Because I used to have coworkers at my last job that were like in India, and they had to work at night. That was their work time. They didn't they went to bed at like 9 a.m. because that was when the workday was over for them. So, or are you just up because you can't sleep? That's. Oh, you're a student. A remote student, or are you just working, staying up late because you got tests coming or something? I mean, either that or you're just up playing video games. Like my son. My son's up every night playing video games, and if it wasn't for the fact that he has to go work like late in the morning, like 11 or 12, he'd be up to 3, 4 o'clock every day. He's usually up until at least 1 or 2. Oh, I just can't sleep. Yeah. Now he's not a student though, but he has to go to work at late morning or early. He has a job where it's late morning, early afternoon work shift. That 3:20. That's a, when I can't sleep, I can't get my butt out of bed. It's like if it's early in the morning like that, I'll just keep tossing and turning. I should. There's a lot of times I'm lying there going, I should just get up and go do something, go work something. But I can't do it. I'll just lie there and toss and turn and torture myself until I go to sleep. So it's probably good you got up, let yourself unwind a little. Maybe when you go back to sleep, it's easier. All right, what's the problem? We did not get a success, obviously. We have data that's blank. So whatever this is returning, it's returning a token. The token is correct. So we got a valid token because we just registered, but it's not handling it very well. I mean, I assume that's a valid token. It's not data.token though. It's res.token. If I go like this. There you go. I don't think it gets back what it thinks half the time. So it's probably res.token. Should probably pull this back correctly. Now that it's successfully registered, I gotta go try again. Sometimes it's data, sometimes it's not. I don't know. It just depends on what it is I'm getting back. So we have a 200. If remember me, set cookie. Set the cookie with expression time from the token. Else, set cookie, set a session cookie. Huh, okay, that's probably fine. But that means, can I make this go back up here and try again? Nope. Set as next. Oh, you're not gonna let me do that. Nope. Go to show, run. Set. I want set. It won't let me do set because it's not in the same block of code. I wonder if I could do it outside of this block of code, though. Could I do it on the outside of this block of code? Nope. Bummer. Alright, fine. What if... Nope, it's going to return. What if I just skip this? Could I do that? Nope, that'll take me outside this block. I don't want to go outside the block. Nope, not going to let me do it. Dang it. Alright, I gotta let it run. Alright, so let's go try one more time to see if I can catch this. Now that I think I got the code in there that I want. We'll save that. And then go back over to my data. Gotta dump my documents. I'm just gonna get rid of this user one. Probably should get rid of this one too, just so I haven't created nobody yet, so it'll those are fine. We got to go to users. Probably means there's one in here. We'll delete that one too. Okay, so now let's see what happens when I run this thing. Drum roll, please. I should stop here. Oh. Return true, severity 0. I don't know what the heck data will be though. Data's not even a thing. But find out in a minute. Ah, didn't work. Why not? Boo. Boo. We have a token. Why didn't it go here? Torres token. Why didn't it go here? Oh, status wasn't 200? Did I not even get a status? Oh, dude, it didn't even return a status. What the heck? Just returned a token? That's it? Just a token. Oh. Oh, well, data. It's not even returning a data object. This data is not even a thing. Wow, okay. I don't know why data is not a thing, but if I did just do... Yeah, that's not... What the heck, man? Alright, so let's go see what this says. Let's see what AI thinks about that. Because it's not even returning a status. It's returning nothing. It's just coming back as a token only. That's like, I don't think that's a complete object. Somehow it's not being returned correctly. I don't think the register function. Oh, I can't do that here because this doesn't have access to my full application. This does. Register function of the img auth is returning a correctly formatted response object. Oops, I don't need this. The PFFM web front end is only getting back a response with a token, but no status or data property, which it is looking for. Let's see what the AI thinks about this. So I'm pretty sure that there's an issue with my register method here in the service. Register. Let's see if I'm right. It'll say you're absolutely right. Oh, it did. Look at that. You're absolutely right. Looking at the code and the error message you're getting in the front end, I can see that there's a mismatch between what the AMG auth service is returning and what the front end expects. And the back end is directly returning the gRPC response object to the client. In gateway, image auth, handle register function, blah, blah, blah. Return success response, blah, blah, blah. In the front end, your blah, blah, blah expects a specific structure for the response, blah, 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 which is what I saw. The error is occurring because the gRPC response from image auth has a simple token structure. The gateway passes just directly to the client, but the front end expects to have a data property containing the token and a status property. The solution: you need to modify the way the gateway handles responses to match the expected format in the front end. Yes, that's what we need to do. So it's the gateway that's messing it up. Darn gateway, just going around messing with things. Just do it your own way, gateway. Do one thing one way and another thing another way, just to add confusion. I know you're probably thinking, well, you know, spice of life, man. Got to throw some challenges in there every now and then. It wouldn't be no fun if it was all too easy. Oh, I think it would be fine. I think we'd be okay with it being easy. Hands up for easy. I'll go with easy. See? Nobody minds. Gateway, just be consistent. I see air handling, logging. Then we got some body bytes. What the heck is body byte? A register. I don't know what that is. Read the raw body first for debugging, which is just debugging garbage. Restore the body for later use. Blah blah blah. And you got a register, which we're going to do there. And then we're going to do some printing nonsense. Then we're going to do an API response struct. Aha! Create a properly structured response. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go create a properly structured response. And I don't know where's that code. It does some interesting stuff. The return success response with proper structure. Let's just take this whole bit and we'll do this. All right, so now I got to stop the gateway and see what happens. Go run. All right, so we're back up and running. Let's see where we go from here, man. What's the next thing? Oh, I got to go back to here because I keep creating a new one, and obviously I can't create it again. So I have to delete. I mean, I could create a new one, but I want the one that's there to be correct because this way I can use it. Oh, that one didn't even create an auth. That's interesting. Should have created an auth. That's an unusual scenario. I'll have to look into that later. Why didn't I create an auth user? Huh. Alright, well, we'll find out in a minute. That might be an issue. If it didn't create an auth user, how is it going to log me in later? What happened? Oh, we're still here. Did we still break here? Oh my gosh. Or is it the same one? Did I just not run it? Let's try that again. Oh, hey, we did it. We got past data. Hey, data is now a token. Oh, okay. So I have to go dot data, which will be a token. Do I do data.token? Oops. Dot token. There we go. Yeah. A token, token, token. All right. So now we're here. Now, am I just passing the data back? Is it? What is this expecting me to return? I don't know if it's expecting the data object or the token off the data object. Hey, all right, cool, man. Hopefully, let me know how that goes. I'm curious. The front end, I think Go, it can probably handle it. Why not? I'm going to be using Unity, so its native language is C sharp. So I'll probably be using C sharp as my front end language to go with Unity. But yeah, I'm curious how that goes. Let me know. Keep me posted. Good luck with your game. You have to let me know what kind of game you're going to make. Curious. Till next time. Thanks for stopping by. Alright, so let's go ahead and just hit F10 on this and see where it takes me. Where are we going? So we're doing a handle submit, on login success, result severity, result message. What is result message? Oh, we don't have a message. Oh, well, we're going to do on login success, so let's just go there. Handle login success if refer.includes account. Okay, we must. Router.push. So are we going home? Are we going somewhere? Where's it going to take me? Alright, so something didn't happen correctly. So, why did it take me back to the login screen? Should not have taken me back to the login screen because I am now registered and I'm back to logging in. AMG auth data. All right, let's see what happens here. So we're going back to the login screen, but I have a feeling the problem is it has something to do with that token. So when I registered, a token should have been stored somewhere locally, and I have a feeling it didn't store correctly. So we have a set cookie, and this is the token. So what is it doing with the data when it comes back? I don't know that anything's being done with it. After I registered successfully, something happened. Add the user, and after being routed back to the front, to the home page, it sent me back to log in. So something did not quite take during registration. Don't see any errors. So, I am not sure what happened. It is as though the cookie was either not saved or not present. Not saved or not properly saved. Let's see if AI can direct me. Here's another thing about AI. When your code base gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you have different things in different places, like I have my calls and I have components within components, right? So I have like a master page component that might call multiple components depending on certain setups. And you also have the database calls, and sometimes those database calls call other like sub components, which makes sense as to where they are, but it gets big and you start to, and it's not unrealistic to kind of start to forget where certain methods might be getting called at. It's like, well, I know this is being called from one of these things, but it's nice to be able to just ask AI and go, well, I'm having this issue with this, and it'll figure out the pathing and just say it's coming from here, And then you can just go straight there and deal with it. In the register function, ensure the set cookie function is being called directly with the token and expiration specific. Check this part of the code. Debugging step, add a console.log. See, the thing is, it does. Potential issue, if XP undefined and all, the cookie may not be set properly. Ensure the get token. Well, add a console.log to confirm the token and expiration. Sure. Setting cookie with token, blah, blah. I don't think I set remember me, but I mean, we're still in the same session, so it shouldn't matter. But now I got to go all the way back to here and do it again. All the way, I don't want to do it again. Okay, that's what happens when things don't work. You got to test it all the way through. Make sure it works. Alright, I don't want to, but whatever. Still curious why my auth user is not getting created. It's going to be interesting when I get to that next step. I go, how come this won't let me log in? I'm not sure. At least it's not too hard to fill out the form. Skip blah blah. Alright. Alright, so we got setting cookie with token blah 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 blah. And expiration null. Okay. I mean, it set the cookie with expiration null. But that shouldn't. It should keep the session alive, though. I mean, until I close the session, I would imagine. The function thus expiration equals null, but I would expect that the cookie should still be good for the session at least. The cookie being set correctly. The set cookie function of the code should create a session cookie if Alright, let's go set cookie. Let's go see. Where's my cookies? I think, what do I do? Is it utils? I think it might be utils. Cookies. There we go. Set cookie. if expires in seconds, else cookie. Code should create. So we got. Okay. Oh, dang it. Right. So, I don't know. I don't. It looks okay. So export constant second. Let's analyze it step by step. If it expires in seconds is null, undefined, the expired string remains empty. When it expires is not set, the browser should treat the cookie session cookie, meaning it will persist. If the browser is not treating the cookie as a session cookie, it could be due to browser-specific behavior, missing attributes like same site or secure. Path attribute, you're setting the path to blah. This ensures the cookie is accessible across the entire site. No issue here. The path is correct and ensures, okay. Secure attribute. If your application is running over HTTPS, modern browsers may require the secure attribute to be set for cookies to work properly. Fix. Add the secure attribute when the application is running in a production environment. Okay. Do I need to do that? Do games typically use HTTPS for their browsers? I mean, probably, huh? If you're logged in. But I'm not really. I'm not really doing anything that requires, like, the only thing that's required is an email. So, I mean, I'm not passing, like, super secure stuff. I mean, I suppose for logins it should probably be HTTPS anyway, so maybe true. I mean, I guess so people can't hack your page. I don't know. Read your page. Fix. Use encode URI component. Document cookie. So we're doing this. Could cause. I don't think any of that's the case, but I'll take this. Sure. So basically, all it did was update. Tells you all the things you should do, and then it shows you all the things done. So a little bit more robust statement, but you can see the part that matters expires in seconds. Blah blah blah. Expires equals. Expires equals, yes, otherwise it didn't do anything else. Use document. You know, honestly, all that did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. I am freezing like, Alexa, turn on Firestorm. What is the deal, man? It's getting cold in here. I'm freezing my tushkas off. You can see the hairs of my arm all sticking up. It's supposed to be 66 degrees outside. What the heck? That's warm. Why is it cold in here? Well, at least I'm not as sleepy. I was feeling sleepy, so that's why I put the Ghost in my drink, which kind of perked me up, but I've only taken a few swigs because most of it's in there. But now I'm cold, so the cold is probably waking me up. Time to wimp out, put on a sweatshirt. Then my wife comes home and goes, "Why the heck are you wearing a sweatshirt? It's so hot in here." I'm like, "Because it's freaking freezing." It's like, "What are you talking about?" She always comes downstairs and goes, "It's so hot down here," because she sees my heater on. And it does get warm, but it's like, to me, that's nice and cozy. I like it. I like it warm. If I get, like, I've noticed on like Friday nights when I'm down here gaming and whatever on my other channel, I do get hot, but it's usually not until the late evening. Oh, come on. All right, I'm gonna do this. Hold on. Okay, so I have an office mat in here, and because I'm on a carpet, and it's a really good one. It lasted really long, but it's starting finally after about 10 years, starting to break down. So it's getting a couple cracks in it, and some of those cracks force the top to fold up. And my wheel would keep getting caught behind the folded up back of the thing. Still works fine. I mean, it's still all here. Enough parts have broken off, but there's a couple of cracks starting to show. And it's partly that I have my mat pushed in underneath my desk as far as it'll go. And so it only sticks out far enough to be on it. But if my seat moves at all, it rolls off of it. And then my tire gets stuck behind it. And while I'm sitting, because if I lean back at all. But now, if I pushed it back another few more inches, I'm hoping I stop rolling off of it and I stop having that problem. But I'm always getting caught on it. And it's time to deal, I thought. So digress. Ken, you're doing it again, man. Get back on track. Like, I know, I do that. Sorry. I will digress. It's easy to derail me. I'm a derailable kind of guy. All right, so let's see here. Guess I have to go delete everything again. Mostly because I want to see if I can get this to behave correctly. Darn it. Delete. Now we go to counters, refresh. Delete, and then we go over here and hit register. And we probably stopped on a break. Or not. Wait, where'd it go? Did I not actually hit register? What happened? Oh, it did stop for it. See, we're still getting sent back here. So something is not working right. Token is not valid. Wait, what? I don't think I saw that before. Res, status text. Auth.js. Where is auth.js? Res status.text. Oh, weird. I didn't even know it did that. Huh. That's kind of cool. But token is not valid. Validate token. Oh, is that where I'm at? There we go. Okay. It's funny, we got res status.text. Oh, not equal to okay. Alright, well, let's go see what this is reading. Let's go see what we are getting. So if token is not valid, obviously something is out of wackiness, wackadee-doo with my token. So, close this up. And go back to create account. Go refresh here. Wait, what? Now it's broken? Now it's, I didn't get nothing? Well, that is just weirdness. Oh, check that out. Alright, 01, 01, and then so we're going in here, and we're happy, 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 not doing, and happy. So everybody's happy right up until we're not happy. This satisfy text is undefined. Oh no, we're getting a bad token value back again. We do have a token. A res. So it's not that this is wrong, it's just not getting it back. So is res not an object? Res is not an object. So we are blown up. I think it's giving the bad, it's getting a bad response on the validate token too. Seems to be me getting a bad response from the validate token as well. Response dot status text is not populated. Such a weird thing that, because I tell you all this stuff functioned. Well, you know what? I hadn't registered in a while. So it's possible it's been broken for a while. So I haven't had it register. I already had a valid user. And I think, like I said, I've been updating and tweaking a lot of my also, we're going to fix that one too. I didn't realize that one was off, but all right. I thought we fixed it from the gateway, but now we're going back. And, oh, it is gateway. Still doing, I thought I fixed gateway. Didn't I already do the gateway one? I thought I did. I'm pretty sure that's what we were doing just a few minutes ago. Handoff, callback, login, and register. All right, so we go back up here. Print line, and then go for Indiegogo. Calling gRPC client. That's right in here. All right. Parse the gRPC code. So we went from just doing a few little tiny fixes to doing the entire thing. Is unauthenticated. All right. And then we got some bonus stuff. We got HTTP status. And then the return. Alright, so we're going to go all the way down here. But it's not putting in my logs. I liked my logs. Don't kill my logging, man. No, the only log that's missing is that one. If I stop short, put this here. And then I can put this after the return. And then that's the if part. Oh. And then fine. I got to return on the outside of that, which should be that. And then we have these guys who are still in here. So what am I missing? What did I mess up? Nothing. Nothing is wrong. I don't know what you're talking of. It is pretty much correct. Wait a minute. Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, status from error, can show Fushi, but else. Return. That's not the end. That's what I don't understand. In this one, where is it? How is it? I don't understand, man. It doesn't line up. See, it puts extra stuff in after this squiggly. But that squiggly is the closing for the whole function. Or maybe it's not, because I got this little guy complaining. Maybe I'm missing a squiggly? Nope, but I have that squiggly too. Or maybe I don't. Alright, well, let's go ahead and put these in and see what happens. So according to this, this should be like this. Huh. Okay. Okay. If you say so. He says okay, blah, 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 blah. That's okay. Well, I guess we'll see what that does. I feel like it's still missing something because status, but there's no status text again. Status text does exist, and it put it in. Oh, various errors. All right, what's next? Fix the validate token. Well, yeah, let's fix the validate token. Validate token in the gateway. Where is the validate token in the gateway? There it is. Oh, it's got some significant meat on it, man. I didn't realize it was that big. Whoa. That is a way big method. Setting up all the statuses, checking on stuff. Alright. I feel like it's a little long-winded, but I mean, it's just putting in a lot of stuff. But it does need it. Apparently the front end is looking for it, so I gotta... a lot of stuff. Alright, let's go stop the gateway again. And we will then try again to go around that. And then we'll go back over here and we'll hit F5. And we gotta go back here. Oops, is that still running? Okay, now we go back here. Back here. I'm not cold anymore. I mean, I'm not hot, but I'm not cold. And never, when the sleepy's coming back. That's what happens to me when I take a... Oh, I'm way over my session time. I'm trying to keep my sessions down to 2 hours apiece. So, where have I gotten? Let's check this out one more time. Let's see how close we are. And I'll call this a session as I fixed this. Copy document. Copy document? No, delete document. Sometimes I don't read what I'm looking at. It's just a thing. I'll be staring at it going, is this right? Alright, so we got that back out, up and running. Alright, so we'll go back here. And I gotta create an account. Do the same thing. Go here, pick that one, go there. 01011980. And register. Calling gRPC client. So I did do something, which means they're probably in a broken state, or a breaking state, a breaked state, a braked state. It's not broken, right? I mean, we broke, but it's not broken. We're at a break point, in state. So I probably don't need this, because I know we're past this part. That's not the problem. But we are here. Ah, boo! Alright, so we don't have a status text, but we do have a status. Status 200 is happy camper. I don't have to have a status text. I'm okay with 200. I mean, I could probably put it in if I really wanted to, but I kind of want this just to work. Is it thinking about it? Yeah, I got. It didn't like that. changing the line of code that you're on during break doesn't go over very well. Oh wait, did it take it? Oh, it looks like it took it. Hey, we're back. We are back to the running state. That's a good place to stop. Okay, so I've got my registration working. And I've got my... All right, let's do one more thing. I'm going to do one more test. Let's close this. Now, the way I have it set up is that I'm not saying remember me. Remember me should save the token, and it's good all the time. I did not use remember me, so in theory, it should require me to log back on. So that's the next big test, right? So we're going to go here. It requires me to log in, and then hopefully I will be able to log in. So if I'm able to log in and it requires me to log in, so it does require, if I go here and hit login, we end up in a state of mess. Why? No. Nope. I did not let it remember me. Does that mean I have to re-register? No, I shouldn't have had to re-register. Oh, we're in the ALS 200. Failed to retrieve user profile. Ah, see, this is what the problem is. I knew it wasn't doing something right. Okay, so I mentioned in my previous code here that I noticed that in here, when it's created, there's no auth user getting created. And I think that's why after I register it works. You can see here I actually have a user and he's been created. But when I try to log in as a user, it doesn't work because they're not finding him as an authorized user because it's not showing up. So something's a myth here, a myth. Successful registration. I am getting a user not found, even though user has been added to the user's collection. Seems though that the auth user that AMG auth uses to validate password is not getting created with the user. So we're getting really close. Once I get this, I'm off to regular working again. I got my registrations working again, got my user account, and this is with all of my refactoring and new code in place and more robust functionality being made available. So I had to get, in order to do all that, a lot of things restructured, my gateways restructured, things built differently. It's a lot cleaner, a lot better, but it took a lot to revamp everything, and it resulted in broken stuff. But as I plug everything back in, get it running off the new one, hopefully I'll be doing a lot less of that refactoring in the future, as I've really got to stay on top of AI, because it definitely is having trouble keeping up with the variations and the massive amounts of differences I have. In register function, create user and user account service. This is working. Create auth record. This is failing. Create auth user implementation. Blah, blah, blah. So what is the trick? Yes, yes. The issue. The error is likely occurring in one of these places. Connection to the wrong collection. Solution. All right, let's go into solution. Let's add detailed logging. Let's also add better handling to the register function. Why not? So we're going to add some logging to create auth user, which is weird. Okay. I mean, I don't mind logging, but there's going to be a point where I got to... now, there is going to be a... I want to start setting up... I should do this soon. I should probably even do it now. Eventually, I'm going to want logs of stuff, right? When a user tells me they're having blah problem, I need to make sure that I can go in and check the logs. You know, what is the problem? When did it occur? And how do I, see what's happening? What happened during that? And if they're able to replicate it, even better, right? Give me steps to replicate. Then I can go in and create it. Now, obviously, I want to be able to create it on the back end on my own, but if I can see the logs going, hey, this thing blew up at this point, I can go, aha. So I need to have the ability to create logs. All errors need to be logged to the database. Every error, everything that looks like an error should go to the database. I don't have that right now. Right now, if I get an error, it just blows up on the screen and there's nothing for me to know about it. So I need to have decent error handling in there that's going to go put this in a log. And what I might even want to do is start putting all my code to have error handlers that will use an error logging function to log anything. So instead of just stating the error, it calls this error logging function that'll state the error and log it, or log it and then state the error. This way I get both parts. It goes into the database and it goes out, and it gives the right feedback. So that's all things I want to put in. I will be doing that soon, because obviously as my thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it's not going to be fun to put that in later. Anyway, for now I think we're good. I'm going to stop. I'll probably get this tweaked offline, and then next time I come back we'll be working on hopefully